This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
And the pitch is swung on, hit the right field, hit deep. Whitefield going back at the track, over his head, and over the wall. Do you believe that?
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Ramirez with a drive to deep right, away back, goal!
Go Hayes gets a bomb out there by the Rocks. And boy, oh boy, this third inning is now showtime.
It is a Judgian blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to spin rates to game-changing moments. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us next from the town, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. World Series, baby, and we got you covered with some absolutely huge names in the game of baseball. Doug Glanville, if you're driving around and you're listening to the World Series on the radio, the former player turned broadcaster, turned writer, turned professor, am I missing anything?
Podcast host with Jason Stark.
Podcaster, I mean, the man does everything, is on the call for the World Series on the radio side for ESPN Radio. He is going to join us at 1:15.
Pre and post game.
I thought he was on the call.
No, I think he's doing pre and post game. The radio call is, I think, Dan Schulman, Eduardo, Jessica Mendoza, and Buster Olney.
He is actually doing commentary during the game. You are incorrect, because I know I've heard him during the game. So he is a part of the call.
Yeah, I saw that.
Trying to correct me on my Doug Glanville knowledge. So Doug Glanville will be here at 1:15. Mike Ferrin, who's doing the pre and post, our good friend from the Valley of the Sun, down in Arizona, but he is on the pre and post for Sirius XM channel 89, which I still don't understand why they call it, because they're on terrestrial. They're not on terrestrial, they're on satellite. Why they call themselves MLB Radio? Why, if you're on satellite, it's not radio. You may get it through your radio, but you're not on radio. You're not on terrestrial radio. You're coming via satellite. Why would you call yourself MLB Radio?
It's a good question. I don't know how else you would call yourself MLB Network. What, though? MLB Network?
I don't know. That's not my
job. It's above our pay grades.
It's not my job to rebrand them. I'm just questioning why you're calling yourself radio and you're not radio. But MLB Radio, Sirius XM channel 89, the best channel. I don't even know why you would listen to terrestrial radio anymore. You've got NFL's 88. Now, Sirius and XM have merged, and some of the channels are on the same on both because they weren't the same on both. Baseball and football are the same on both. Sirius XM. Either way, because I, in my car, have XM. What do you have? Do you have Sirius or do you have XM?
I don't have either. I just have FM.
But when you bought your car, you cheap SOB, you originally had it for free.
Yeah, it was Sirius.
Okay, so either way, it's 89. NFL's 88. PGA Tour's 92.
Our favorite channel that you introduced me to.
Oh, my God. The guy, I don't know what his name is, but the guy that does Sirius XM NASCAR channel, find me that guy's name. He's the greatest broadcaster ever. Move over, Vin Scully. This guy is, I listen to him during commercials. I'll flip over. I think they're 90 or 91. But this guy.
What time is he on?
Yeah, it's the one I'm driving up to Oakland. So it's like 1, 2 o'clock.
So is it Dave the Godfather Moody?
Yes. Dave the Godfather. Swear to God, every day he's pissed about something in NASCAR. And I like listening to it because it's great theater of the mind, right? I don't know what he looks like. Don't even look him up.
I'm not.
I don't want to. I don't know what he looks like. He's got that. He talks fast. He's Southern. And he's pissed about something every day. Every day. and it's rules. It's the garage, this driver's garage, his pit crew. NASCAR's getting this wrong, and NASCAR didn't do that. I mean, I've turned you on to it. Is he not mad every day?
Yeah, every time we've gone in the car together up to NBC Sports Bay Area / California, we put him on during a break on MLB Network Radio, and the guy's always pissed about something. I
didn't realize there was that much going on. I mean, in a sport where the cars just go around and round and round, and you do the same thing every week, it's like it's basically the PGA Tour, but with cars.
It made me think, is he let me send out a congratulations to our good friend, Chris the Mad Dog Russo, who went to the Radio Hall of Fame yesterday.
The greatest of all time. Sports Talk Radio, the Mad Dog.
Is Dave the Godfather Moody? Is he the Chris Russo of NASCAR radio?
He's selling. This man is a salesman. Like I'm trying to, is there really this many issues in NASCAR every day? Because they're not racing Monday through Friday.
You know, we need to ask, we're going to have Right-Field Will on next week from the Arizona
Does he know about NASCAR?
He's a big NASCAR guy. So he would know what the kind of issues NASCAR
Well,
has.
according to the Godfather, we've got problems every week. Can you imagine, like in golf, like each week they go to a different town, to a different course, and each week it's just, this is the most ridiculous thing going on. Like, no, you show up, everybody plays, winner gets like $1.5 million, you move on to the next town.
Yeah.
Everybody gets paid.
I mean, NASCAR, I don't know how much NASCAR drivers make for when they win races, but I'm sure they do.
I'm
sure they do pretty well.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Congratulations to the Mad Dog. Well-deserved. He is by far. And I know we've had some people in the past who've been like, can't you really bring him on? Because he doesn't, I mean, he bags on the A's. Not as the team, the players and stuff, on just, the stadium situation and everything, and it makes people mad. He is literally the greatest sports talk show host ever. He's not going into like the Sports Talk Hall of Fame. He's going into the Radio Hall of Fame. In our industry, there's nothing higher than that. It's like going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yeah. So all you haters, he's the best.
Yeah, but
and you know what? Shut him up. Get a ballpark. Shut everybody up. Make it happen. I mean, I did my little thing yesterday, and it's funny. I had you go listen to, Tao was her name?
Yeah, yes, one of the mayor candidates for.
Our buddy Brody Brazil has been interviewing him with a straight face. I said, Cody, I listened to this. I watched it. You watch it on Brody's
YouTube page.
And what did I tell you? Did you get any information? Did you get a Willie Brown who basically said, we're going to get this done in San Francisco for the Giants? Willie Brown. Now, I interviewed Willie Brown years ago. I can't imagine how old he is now. He's like, what is he going to be, like 80-something? Because he was old back in those days. But he's a powerful man. He was a powerful politician. I don't know what your politics are, nor do I care. I live in San Jose. Never had a chance to vote for him or against him. I just know I interviewed him back in the day when all this was going on. How old is he?
88.
He's 88. Wow. Willie Brown said, we're getting this done. The Giants are staying, and we're getting this done. You don't get this out of these interviews with Brody. You don't. And then I found a thing that was because mayoral candidate Tao, she was saying, and the other guy, what was he saying? They're both saying the same. Well, we're going to have to go back and look at it, and we got to educate ourselves.
Yeah, the educating the
everybody's got to get up to
speed.
Up to speed. 6 months ago, it popped up on my timeline last night. After we talked about it, 6 months ago, in the parking lot of the Coliseum, Mayor Libby Schaaf was raising a flag with Dave Cavell 6 months ago.
That was probably for opening day.
And Brody Brazil interviewed the mayor for NBC Sports California. You can see it. I got it right here. It was, Mayor, I could turn my computer around.
Should have the date on there somewhere.
Right? Says 6 months ago. Empty parking lot. Behind her is porta potties. Isn't that great? On television, you're interviewing the mayor and there's porta potties behind her. It was 6 months ago. You can find it. It says Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, latest updates on Howard Terminal Ballpark. YouTube. Look it up. Brody Brazil on his page. You can tell she's a little frustrated. I watched it last night. You know what she said? Since this new mayor candidate, who she's on the city council, right, Tao?
Yes. You know what? I know what? I don't know.
Look it up real quick. We've stayed away from it. So if you're like, I can't believe you guys don't know. Now we've stayed away from it. We have separated ourselves. We're too close to it. We have separated ourselves on who's going to be mayor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's it. Yeah, Lauren Taylor.
And the other ones, there's no.
Yeah, they're city council members.
Yeah, I'm sure she would be. I'll find out for sure.
I got here 6 months ago in the parking lot at the Collie. Libby Shaft sounding frustrated with Brody Brazil. Not frustrated. She's acting like this thing's going to get done, which it's not in this year. But she says about the city council, this is what they're paid for. It's point blank. They've got access to experts on this. That's according to the mayor 6 months ago in the parking lot. I'm looking at it right now. You can watch it too. Brody Brazil, Oakland Mayor Libby Shaft, latest updates on Howard Terminal Ballpark. 6 months ago. Yes, she's on the city
District
council.
4 council member.
So then I'm hearing from the mayor 6 months ago that every one of these men and women on the city council have a full-time salary, they have a full-time staff, and they've got access to experts. And now they're going, as they're about to be in a vote to be who's the next mayor of Oakland, are now saying, oh, we got to wait till next year. We got to, as she said, we got to update everybody.
Get everyone up to speed.
Get them up to speed. 6 months ago, the mayor said, you guys all have staffs, access to experts. Why do you need to get up to speed months from now? How are you not up to speed now? The mayor says it's their job to be up to speed.
It's a great question. And maybe the new council members that aren't on the city council or, being replaced, or the incumbents.
You could say that they need to be brought up to speed.
Maybe
that's fair.
Maybe that's who she was talking about. I don't know. But still, I mean, if you live in Oakland or if you're running for office in Oakland, I'm pretty sure you know that the A's have been looking to get a new ballpark since.
It's the largest project in the history of the state of California, let alone Oakland. You need to get up to speed next year. You're not up to speed now when the mayor says full salary, full staff, and access to experts. I got the video right here. All right. World Series. 47 teams that have taken a 3-1 series lead in the World Series have gone on to win 41 of those titles. 47 times, teams gone up 3-1. 41 times, they went on to win the World Series. That's 87%. So a win tonight by the Phillies and the Astros. I think the Astros are in trouble now. I'll give you my reasons why. But, man, that doesn't look good. I mean, the Astros better come to play tonight. They better show up. They didn't show up last night.
Well, we saw it with, you know what? I have them. We'll just play one of them. The home run in the game from Bryce Harper that literally sent a seismic activity chart from Penn State there in Philadelphia. Here's the Harper home run. I mean, just the stadium just erupted.
McCullers to Harper. It's good. Right center field. Lightning strikes. 2-0 Phils. Well, Johnny sure looked ready for a curveball. He sat on it, and he got it. Look, you look at film all the time, and you watch at-bats, and you can just tell sometimes a great hitter is going to take away one of the strengths of the opposing pitcher, and he sure did it on the first pitch.
So we talked about this. Steve Sparksy told us yesterday that what does Lance McCullers not do against left-handed pitchers?
Throw fastballs.
Bryce Harper's
he can hit anything.
Yeah, true, but he's a left-handed hitter.
He's a left-handed hitter.
Kyle Schwarber's a
left-handed
hitter.
But the other guys went deep. They're not, but
Marsh is.
yeah, but Hoskins isn't.
No, he's already, yeah.
So when you start thinking about tipping pitches, and we got to ask Doug Glanville. And of course, as we said earlier, there's nothing that this man doesn't do. He is a broadcaster. He is a writer. He's a professor. You hear him part of the broadcast pre and post and inside the broadcast for ESPN Radio. Former terrific player. Great to have you back on the program. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm just trying to figure out what time zone I'm in right now. Was in San Diego and then Cleveland, and so I got back this morning from Philly, and wow, what electricity in that ballpark! But yeah, I'm doing great. I mean, I'm enjoying it, covering the playoffs. I'll be in studio tonight to do some radio, and yeah, we're just gonna enjoy some baseball.
Well, you know all about Philly. Just tell us what is it like inside the bank and the energy and how players truly feed off this energy?
Well, we talked to Reese Hoskins about it, and we're trying to understand, like, does it make a difference, right? And he said something different. It's allowed to get fired up, but he said it forces them in a good way to really be demonstrative and celebrate and get in the moment. So when you watch their bench, I mean, they're on top step. They're all, and they say that's something that they feed off. So if anything, beyond like distracting the other team, it's also that they excite the players on the Phillies. And it's really like no other place. I mean, you talk to all these opponents, different players I've spoken to, and I'm not sure right now anybody has a better home field advantage in baseball than the Phillies right now. It is so loud in there, man. I mean, it's just absolutely, you can't hear. Like, I was on the set of the Gold Glove Award show, and then we came later with Baseball Tonight, and Tim Kirchin was sitting between him and Jessica Mendoza, and they couldn't even hear each other. Like, it was like we were literally standing next to each other. So, I mean, it was unbelievable.
When I think about an environment like that, and it's your home, and you feel so comfortable, you can see how certain players, they play free and easy. I know a lot of people are trying to talk about tipping pitches right now, but whether it didn't matter who the opponent was towards the very, very end of the season, now into the postseason, just talk about the way the Phillies are playing, especially at home. It just seems so relaxed. It seems so natural that the whole postseason pressure doesn't seem to be there with them.
Yeah, I mean, look, the big pressure, when we talked to Rob Thompson, their manager, he's like, if we can just get in, I think we're going to be at our best, because, we talk about they're being built for the postseason. When you go into free agency and you sign Schwarber, Castellanos, you have Harper, you're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to be a run prevention team. You're not worried about defense. You're worried about hitting the ball in the ballpark, right? That's what you're trying to do. Yeah. And you give up a run, you score two, right? That's what they thought about. And they had a good enough pitching to kind of do well on that side of it. Well, that was, didn't get them the streaks that they wanted. They made the managerial change. But then in the postseason, that's beautiful, because home runs are absolutely the dominant force. If you out-homer your opponent, you are very likely to win. And the Astros got out-homered last World Series. I think it was something astronomical, like 15-2 or something. And they amazingly still won 2 games, but it wasn't enough. And that's what the Phillies did. They hit 5 home runs. And when you make Lance McCullers look like batting practice, that tells you how good your offense is. So, they knew the defense would be a weakness. They knew that the fact that Harper was able to DH this year that was a good fortune, because had you not had the universal DH, Harper, you wouldn't be able to play him. And then you would have really had to have Castellanos and weaker defenders in the outfield the whole year. And so they got Marsh, that really helped. And the left side of the infield got better enough. And now it's just bash ball.
Yeah, speaking to your point here, at Citizens Bank Park, they've outscored their opponents 42-15 and all their wins, and they've out-homered their opponents 17-6 at home. So the ball is going out of the yard. And when I think about, the way things are going for the Houston Astros, obviously they're not out of it. Long way to go here. Tonight's very pivotal. Can't go down 3-1, but they just haven't looked. Is it me, or they just haven't looked good so far in the World Series?
Yeah, they did for a minute in the first, game you were on. You were like, oh, here comes the Astros, right? 5-0. Yeah. And then, go Verlander, come on, you're done. Nope, that's the Phillies, right? And, the Phillies, you kind of miss out sometimes that they're really good hitters. They're not just home run guys. They are sluggers, but they're actually good hitters. Hoskins is disciplined. Harper's disciplined. Schwarber's disciplined, right? You have Real Muto. I mean, these guys are good hitters, and they can wear a team down. That's what you start to see the pitch count go up and all these things. They're fouling balls off. And if their bottom of the order does anything, they're going to turn over the lineup. And then anything that the bottom does sets the table for Schwarber, because he's the leadoff guy. So you're going to face a guy who led the league in home runs right out of the gate. Good luck, right? So the Astros got punched back, and Verlander gave up a lead he never had given up before in his career. And now all of a sudden, you win game 2 and you feel better because the defense of the Phillies kind of bit them. But then game 3 was almost like, it's almost like you're boxing and you're like, okay, you're kind of evenly matched, and maybe you think the Astros have more talent, and then the Phillies like literally knock you down, and you have to do a standing 8 count or whatever. Like that's how shocking it is in that way. Like that wasn't just a loss, that was just a defeat. And how they come back right away, they're gonna have to come back quickly in game 4. They're gonna find themselves on the outside looking in.
Yeah, they came into this thing heavy favorites. They're now the underdog, so it's kind of like, Buster Douglas is fighting back against Mike Tyson, and there's a problem here in Tokyo, Japan. We all remember that back in the day. Speaking of tipping pitches, Steve Sparks from the Astros, longtime knuckleballer, now broadcaster for them, he was on the program yesterday going, the problem with McCullers is he will not throw fastballs to left-handed hitters. So it's like everybody's like, is he tipping his pitches? It's like, whether he's tipping his pitches or not, as a left-handed hitter, you go up there, you're going to see slider, maybe a change, but slider. So whether he's tipping pitches or not, as a hitter, as a lefty, don't you already know what's coming?
Right, you do. And look, he has 4 pitches that he throws, 15% or more. It's very even, actually. 25% sliders, 25% curveball, 25%, and then he throws maybe 17% changeup. So he's very even. So that's what he relies on. Now, one thing, to McCullers' defense, I guess, when you look at the actual physics of his pitches, this guy has exceptional spin in downward direction for his curveball and more laterally with his slider. So the thing about McCullers is they are 2 different pitches. They may be in the same velocity range, but they move very dramatically different. Usually you don't have both. You're not like Shane Bieber with like really good curveball and really good slider and really good cutter, right? They're similar, but they're not. That's what McCullers, when he's good, had going. And my view was that he was trying to work down and get the strike to ball chase, and he was getting strike to strike. He was starting up and it was ending in the zone. And the Phillies, good hitters, didn't miss it because they were looking for like the secondary pitches, because 70% of the time that's what he's going to throw. So they stayed back. So I think it was a lot more mistakes and the flatness of his pitches. He just wasn't sharp. And when you don't locate in big league baseball and the ball's on that horizontal plane with no bite to it, yeah, you're going to be staring at your right fielder a lot. I think he was very gracious in his post game, kind of recognizing that, like, I was bad and I didn't hit my spots.
I know everybody now, they're trying to, he's tipping his pitches and everything. I've had many of conversations, and I don't know about you as a hitter, they didn't want to know. Because what happens is, and I've been starting to get into sports psychology, and we know that no matter what the sport, athletes perform better when they stay in their routines. Whether it's your pregame routine, your in-game routine, always in routine. When you now all of a sudden, I know what's coming, guys start to get out of that routine, and that affects them. That's why you've heard for years that people go, I don't want to know. I just want to see, react, stay in my routine. For you as a hitter, would you want to know if and maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but would you want to at least think, I know what's coming?
Yeah, well, that was a ringing endorsement of the 2017 Astros. They knew it was coming. So, and I think that the challenge with that is it works well with certain hitters. Like, all right, to the Astros defense, if you want to say that, you have to be a certain disciplined hitter to take advantage of knowing what's coming, right? I mean, I think that's the important side of it. You have to be able to adjust and say, okay, yeah, I know a fastball is coming, but I have to zone it up. It has to be my fastball. It has to be my zone overlapping over the strike zone. I think that's not that easy. and you can get too big, you can get out of it. And so it goes back to the Phillies hitters being not only power guys, but disciplined, the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And the fact that they can actually stay back and not chase balls because they know what's coming. That's another skill set. And not everybody has it. Not everybody knows how to leverage it. I wasn't that guy. You're like, yeah, it was nice to know it was a fastball, but I wasn't going to be zoning up like it has to be above the letters and all that. You end up swinging at it no matter where it is, right? It's like, I just swing it. You're just like, so I don't think that was great for me necessarily, but I do think that could he've been tipping subtly? It's possible. Bobby Abreu was the best I've ever seen at that, but even though he was in the zone and it was kind of flat, and I think a lot of teams would have hit him regardless.
Yeah, because you even look at the cheating scandal with the Astros, how the banging of the trash can, they went back and, in the early part of the season, they weren't banging it all the time because they were trying to figure it out. It wasn't until later in the season where it could bang like 80-something times a game, because the worst thing in the world is a hitter, right? If you go up there and you think something's coming and it's wrong, now you've mentally fried yourself in the box. I mean, that's not the kind of mentality you want when you're up at the plate.
Yeah, well, Scott Rowland's a good example. He didn't like it. We always talked about being on second base and whether you're trying to relay signs and all that. And actually, I really never played for a team that did that, other than Texas considered it in 2003. I think most players were like, I don't want to know, or I'm going to swing. So it really depends on the hitter. I know Rowland absolutely rejected it. And he didn't want you trying to steal third either. So that was another. So, it depends. And, really good teams, like you look at Harper talking to Alec Boehm or something, like good teams have like a team approach and they understand the strengths of each hitter and they know how to communicate advantages in real time. And those teams that kind of get on that same page to beat a player, to beat a pitcher, they're going to do well. And it seems like the Phillies also have that intangible to what they're doing right now.
What do you make of the criticism of Dusty Baker through this series now and sticking with starters too long?
Well, I think, knowing Dusty and talking to him at different times and also just playing for him, I think he's kind of familiar with it, that there is a tendency to kind of go after his X's and O's. It's been a kind of lifelong criticism of him using his gut and things like that. But, Dusty definitely relies not only on the data, but also the personnel. Like he's like, I hired coaches, or I have coaches for a reason, and I have to lean in and trust them to a large degree. I mean, the Astros are one of the more shifting teams in baseball. They certainly take the data to move defenders around. That's not something Dusty did when he played or in the old school way. He always says there's no old school, there's no new school, it's the right school. We always talk about that. So, I think it's going to come with the territory. I know McCullers, his basis was, at least this is what he said, was that McCullers had a couple of good innings. So he's hoping that he can give him some more innings, because look, every inning he goes eats up innings, and that therefore saves your bullpen. And when you're about to play 2 more games in Philly on the road, you need every tool at your disposal. So, I think it makes sense that he was trying to go for it. Bob Melvin, I know, always went another batter just trying to set up his bullpen a certain way. And it bit him eventually with Josh Hader not being ready or whatever that was against Harper. But, you know your personnel. And I think that was what he was shooting for. And he said, look, I wear it. Like, it didn't work out. They tacked on more runs, but we didn't score anyway. So you're not going to win anything with 0.
Yeah, that's so funny. And I get caught in that, especially this past year, where the A's, we had a lot of games where we scored 0 or just 1. And here I am ranting and raving over stuff. I had to catch myself going, we didn't score a run, so what does it matter, right? I mean, even hockey took out the ties. I mean, if you don't score, it doesn't matter. Let's end on this. We had those great commercials, the Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world. If we had most interesting man in the that's my computer. If we had the most interesting man in baseball, you're definitely on that list. Once we get after the World Series, what do you got going? What's going to be in Doug Glanville's life after baseball as we go into the offseason?
Well, I never stop. So, all right. So, number one, I'm wearing this right here. This is a UConn Huskies sweater.
Huskies, yeah.
So I teach at UConn in the offseason, a class called Sport and Society. It's really cool. We talk about the history of how sports have informed social issues. And then we bring it current, and we talk about how sports try to change society. And I use law, a section on law, a section on politics, and a section on the media. And so we have a lot of guests, Don Fear and Adam Jones and Sean Doolittle and Jessica Mendoza. We've had a star-studded guest list of people coming in, either into class or Zooming in. So that's, I'll do that. I have a show that I do once a month called Classes in Session for Marquee Sports. And same type of theme as my class, except in a 30-minute show. And this last issue was on the expansion of the college football playoff system. So we cover it. It's not just baseball, but so I try to do, I love baseball, of course, and I just love how sports give us an opportunity to talk about issues to bring us together. And so I dive a little more into that when baseball is over.
Well, I got to think those trips to Philly, I mean, in your life as a Philly, I mean, you went to Penn, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's been a good area for you.
It really has. And it was fun to be back there again, just the craziness. And Citizens Bank Park was my last year when they built the ballpark.
You got a year there. Awesome.
I got 1 year. So my claim to fame is the first walk-off home run at Citizens Bank Park. So
I love it.
One of my 2 home runs that year. So I did get the taste, and they also had a new spring training site that year. So I wanted to go out in style and retire after that.
Well, it's always an honor to have you on the program. Thank you so much, and let's hook up during the off season and appreciate the time.
All right. Sounds great. Anytime, guys.
The great Doug Glanville join us right here on A's Cast. As I say, we're always smarter. I'd like to take that class. I mean, I say that now, and then the class would start, and I know I would. But
that's like me during COVID. Harvard was offering free classes, so I signed up for a free computer science class. I think I did 2 of them. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I got my bachelor's degree already. And everyone's like, what about your master's? I'm like, yeah, I thought about it, but it's more so if I just want to if I want to teach broadcasting.
Which, like, why would you want to? That's not a good idea for someone your age for the future.
No, I mean, the only thing I would teach, like, it'd be cool to teach a class about what we're doing because it's the future of broadcasting. But it's like,
this is going to change.
Yeah,
I mean, in 5 years, who knows how we're coming to people in 5 years could be completely
so
different.
Like my wife has her master's in nursing, and I'm like, oh, that's great. You have a master's degree in nursing.
Nursing's still going to be around.
Yeah. I asked her, I'm like, so does that help you with get a pay raise and everything? She goes, no, not really. I'm like, okay, so it's more money spent on school, but at least you have all those fancy titles at the end of your nursing degree now, or your title at work. But yeah, Doug's great. He also does the podcast with Jason Starkville. He's on Cubs broadcast as well on Marquee Sports Network. The guy's everywhere, and I love when we were able to get him on and talk about baseball. So I'm glad we were able to get him today.
Now, I don't want you to call me a homer since I've been on the Phillies bandwagon for months now. So I don't want you to say I'm just being a Phillies homer now that the Phillies are up 2-1.
Okay.
Exactly 1 week ago, the Phillies were heavy underdogs to win the World Series at plus 155. According to BetMGM, Philly is now a strong favorite to win the Fall Classic, minus 150.
Wow.
They went from plus 155 to now minus 150. You got to bet 150 to get 100 back.
Well, it helps. They are 22-9 at home now.
Just saying, in 1 week, this is not me. This is Vegas. They went from being big-time underdogs to now they're the favorites. The Astros went from being 190, minus 190 to plus 125. That's a big drop. And I got to tell you, just look at it. They look, I got to tell you, they don't look, they look like 2 different teams right now. Philly's playing free and easy, having a great time. I can give you all these numbers. There's all these numbers about how bad the Astros have been. I mean, you've got Bryce Harper looking around, doing his signal to the center field, doing all this, and then you turn around and Yordan Alvarez is hitting a $125 with 12 strikeouts in 8 games. since he homered in back-to-back games in the postseason. That's just not the World Series. He has not hit at all since he went back-to-back yaks. I mean, their guys just, they didn't hit. They didn't hit at all. They got shut out. We can talk Dusty Baker till the cows come home. But if you don't score and they're mowing through you like it's nothing, I mean, John Smoltz made a good point last night, the Hall of Famer, friend of the program, where he said, hey, listen, I'd rather lose like this, where you just go, man, we just flat out got beat. We'll see you tomorrow. Versus you dragged one out in the 10th or 11th, like game one, right? You had the lead, lost it. I mean, I'd rather lose like this, turn the page, we'll see you tomorrow, than lose a gut-wrenching World Series game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And you brought up the Astros lineup, not just Alvarez, but Altuve and Tucker and Bregman. Since Tucker had the 2 home runs in game one, since then they're 7 for 42 with 1 home run, including they going 0 for 15 last night. The spot, I brought this up yesterday, I'll bring it up again today. The Astros DHs in the postseason, if not named Yordan Alvarez because he played in game 2, are 2 for 38 because David Hensley had a hit in his first at bat last night. 2 for 38, and Mancini was 0 for 1. Mancini does not have a hit in the postseason. And we love Trey, friend of the program. Great story. But you can't just keep throwing him out there in the postseason. He's not delivering. But then what are you going to do? I mean, Alchemist Diaz, Aletmys Diaz isn't doing anything. And I mean, Hensley does have a hit.
Well, your analytics department is so smart, they should have the answer. Don't go off gut. What's the answer? They're so smart. The Astros are so smart. They are just light years ahead of everybody. What's the answer then?
I don't think they have the answer.
You know, I would have gotten rid of McCullers. I wouldn't have. After the 4 runs, I would have gotten rid of him, knowing that I have, you know, what 9 deep in the bullpen. I probably, but I'm not buying the tipping the pitches thing. I'm not buying it. I think we need, well, not us. I think these people need something to talk about. And all I have to do is start talking psychology, start talking about the human brain and the professional athlete, and stop giving me just numbers, right? Numbers, anyone can look up numbers. But you start realizing, and I remember Ray Fosse told us this. Ray Fosse hated knowing what was coming, dreaded it. Why? Because he felt, and as Doug Glanville just said, he felt it got him out of his routine. Like all of a sudden you get big. Now you're not seeing, reacting, boom, doing what you normally do. You're now thinking, oh, fastball's coming. I'm gearing up. Oh, and you pop it up. What did he say? Ray Fosse told us in the one game where he knew it was coming, he went 0 for 4 with 4 pop-ups because he was swinging out of his shoes. Trevor Bauer, multiple times in his career, has gotten up there and gone, fastball, curveball. Guys can't hit him. It freaks you out. So this whole thing that we're now, like every show today and all these articles, tipping pitches, you can know what's coming and not get hits. Just because you know what's coming, because you can actually follow the Astros. What was that Twitter account that broke down the game by game and saw how the trash can bangs went up and went up and what? But some players didn't. Some players who were getting the bangs didn't do well.
Yeah, and I think one of the
I think Josh Reddick was one of them.
And then like Altuve was towards the bottom of the list who barely ever used it or something. I'll see if I can find it. That was a couple years ago.
And it would be just from a standpoint of just knowing and tracking it. It would be nice to know who actually used it, who didn't, who wanted it, who was successful with it, who wasn't. That would be fascinating. We're never going to get that. We're never going to get a tell-all of exactly, I mean, the players, we don't know what the players told baseball. They had immunity. Like they were able to go to baseball and they were able to say, this is what we did, but we don't know exactly what they told. I have to think, and I don't know how you feel, Cody, if baseball told me if I talk, I'm good. So, okay, but am I giving the whole story? Am I going to really tell everything that I know? I know all I have to do is show up to this meeting, and the fact that I show up, I'm good. Will I sprinkle some information in there? Yeah. But would I would just go, all right, here's everything that happened. Hell no. Just because I got to show up and I'm good, I would not. So I don't think we're ever going to get the full story. And, there are times when, would it be nice to know Aroldis Chapman? And if I had a buzzer, and if that's true, Altuve wouldn't take off his jersey, which was suspicious as hell, went back into the clubhouse, took everything off, came back in a T-shirt, and sounded like a little boy going, hey, my wife doesn't want to see me without a shirt on. It was really, really weird. But yeah, just because a fastball is coming doesn't mean you're going to barrel it up.
Yeah, I was just looking. The website is signstealingscandal.com, and I looked at Altuve. Altuve got 24 bangs on 886 pitches, which is 2.7% of the time. You mentioned Josh Reddick.
Wait, what?
That's how many times he had a trash can bang. So Altuve,
out of 8,200 pitches, he only had it how many times?
Out of 886 pitches he saw all year, he only had it happen 24 times.
886 pitches.
And there was only 24 trash can bangs.
I don't know if that sounds like a lot or not. I'm trying to think.
That's 2.7%.
So during the season, Altuve as a batter playing every day saw 800-something pitches.
Yeah. Throughout the year, he saw 886 pitches, and he only got a bang on 24.
Doesn't that seem like not a lot?
No, that's why I said, like, when people are like, he's not the MVP. Well, this guy who made this website is an Astros fan.
Like, I would think you'd see, but I guess if you did the math, if you did 4 at-bats and you see 3 to 4 pitches okay. So out of 800-something at-bats, he got how many
24
bang?
out of 886, which is
only 24 times in that season a trash can banged while Altuve was at the plate.
According to this website.
And this person went back and tracked the games, by the way.
Yeah, it says
because you have a crowd mic. Like the crowd mic. We have a mic that hangs from the screen in Oakland. So that's how you hear everything when Ken and Vince are doing the broadcast. That's how you hear. You can hear people yelling in the F you, Altuve. You can hear that in the background because we have a crowd mic there. So you'd be able to hear bang, bang, bang. You'd be able to hear that.
Yeah, it's right here. At the bottom of the list.
Now, is this totally accurate? Probably not, but I guess I would say it's probably pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, even in his little intro here, he goes, I'm an Astros fan. They cheated during the 2017 regular season. The evidence is clear. In an attempt to understand the scope of the cheating and the players involved, I decided to listen to every pitch from the 2017 Astros home games and log any banging noise I could detect. These are the results of my efforts. I've logged over 8,200 pitches and found banging before over 1,100 of those pitches.
So, once again, I'm right. Those are just home at-bats for Altuve.
Yeah. That's where they were saying the Astros were cheating most.
I know, but when you said that's at-bats, I said that seems like not a lot of at-bats for a season. Yes, it's like only 800. Yeah, that was for home games.
Tony Kemp at home on the Astros, 0. So Tony Kemp was not as he mentioned before.
And isn't in the MVP year, Altuve's road was basically almost identical as home?
I have to pull that up. I think you're right. Year that he won the MVP over Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Pull that up. Yeah, I think I'm trying to look at who had the most. Yuli Gurriel had.
Here, I'll look it up. You do that. I'll look it up.
I got it right here. Loading. Yeah, Altuve stats. He ended up hitting 300. Oh, that was this year. Never mind. In 2017, he hit 311 at home, but he hit 381 on the road.
Seriously. Wait, do that again, because I know Eno's got. I'm interested to see what Eno has to say about it. What was that? What did he hit at home?
In 2017, Altuve hit in 78 games. He hit 311, 9 home runs, 35 runs.
311. What did he hit on the road?
381. So if you look at the guys that you probably had,
I don't care. They still cheated, but I mean, come
on. Max, well, he didn't get a lot of at bats. Yuli Gurriel, 120 out of 723 pitches at home. Tyler White, 28 of 106. Like these are something like. Let's just look at another guy that's big. Let's see what.
Wait, what was Reddick?
Reddick was right around Altuve. Reddick was 28 out of 757, so 3.7%.
28 times. And we don't even know. Do we even know what they hit during that time?
He doesn't have the batting average in there, I don't think. George Springer, 140 out of 972. That's 14%.
We got to get our guy CJ Nikowski back. You know, he's doing loud outs on Sirius XM full time now.
Yeah, I meant to text him. I mean, I still can.
And they were all over that. Oh my God, you know. And I got into this interview in the middle of the interview, so I have no idea who the voice didn't sound familiar, but they had a former catcher on talking about when do you get suspicious as a hitter? And the guy, whoever he was, I don't know who he played for. I don't know. He's kind of a recent guy, retired, but they never said his name. Said that it's not on swings, it's on takes. Our friend, that is when, you know, when a guy, when you do your scouting reports, for instance, and you say, this guy swings, I'll just say splitter. This guy we know is going to hacking, and he's swinging at splitters, and he swings right over the top of them. He's a super aggressive fastball, because when you throw a split finger fastball, let me get a baseball here because we got a bazillion of them in the studio. This would be a two-seam fastball. I'm trying to get it in the dark. Here, move over a little bit. Two-seam fastball, four-seam fastball. But when you're throwing a fastball and it's coming like this, so you'd be turned and you're coming like this, all the difference is the grip. And depending on how big your grip is, split finger fastball is a pretty light grip compared to the old school. I didn't have big enough hands to do the old school Dave Stewart fork ball where you really dig it back in there and that thing's really tumbling. But a split finger is really a lighter grip. Different ways to throw it. I didn't like it on the seam. Some people like the seams. That's how you get blisters, by the way. I would have it off the seams and not really. And what happens is fastball, same thing. Split finger is the same thing. It's just the grip's different. So that's why when you have a good one and hitters always swing over it, because in their eyes, you hit with your eyes. Everything's with your eyes, Cody. I don't know if you know that. You can't hit unless you see it.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
So all these hitters, they see fastball, and they commit, and they get, and your weight, what happens is when that ball starts to tumble down and you've committed to the fastball, and now you're forward, back, and you swing over it. And even if you get it, you're out on your front foot. Not many people, Kirk Gibson, the exception against Ennis Eckersley, Game 1 of the 1988 World Series, can be out on their front foot and be strong enough to get the barrel through and make good contact. That's why the split's so good. So why am I saying that? Well, okay, if the scouting report says this guy, hunting heater, he's always, and he swings right over the top of split fingers, and all of a sudden, as this catcher, whoever he was today on Sirius XM, he says, guy takes. Oh, wait a minute. Why'd he take? He's always swinging at that. Okay, let's do it again. Takes again. Then you start going, okay, wait a minute. How does this guy, and that was kind of the thing about the Astros that catchers would say is, I don't know how these guys laid off some of these pitches. That's what some of the A's guys said back in the day. Like, we're throwing nasty pitches, and they're not even offering at it. But these numbers show you're talking 24 bangs in a season for a guy. That's not a whole heck of a lot.
You're talking about, I think I know who you're talking about. Is it Chris Jimenez?
No, this is not a guy who works for them. He was a guest.
Oh, he's a guy. Okay.
Yeah.
He said he was a former catcher.
He's a former catcher who he's not on the network. He was a guest on the show.
Okay.
He was a Yankee, though.
Oh,
a recent Yankee.
Is it Eric Kratz?
I don't know. They didn't say his name.
Oh, because
I didn't recognize
Kratz
his voice.
was a former Yankee, but he also does Philly stuff now too on radio.
Could be it.
Yeah.
But he would say it wasn't when guy, because let's face it, you throw a net. Was Mariano here's one of the greatest questions of all time about tipping pitches. Was Mariano Rivera tipping pitches?
No.
What do you mean? Of course he was.
Well, yes. Figures.
Go watch. He did the same thing every time. The way he put his ball, the way he put his hand into the glove.
We only threw one pitch.
That's tipping pitches.
True.
You know what's coming. That would be your definition. Tipping pitch means he's telegraphing what he's throwing by the way he puts his hand in the glove, the way he has his glove. Now they're saying about McCullers, about the height of the glove. It can be the leg kick, whatever. Mariano Rivera did the same thing every time. He's tipping you. He's telling you what he's throwing.
What game? It was 2017. I can't remember which game it was. Remember when Yu Darvish apparently was tipping pitches against the Astros?
Yeah.
And then I think he did it. But what game? What did he end up doing that in? Let's see. That's like the last time
with the Dodgers.
Yeah, that's the last time I remember hearing about tipping pitches in the World Series.
So I understand, like, if you hang pitches, you're going to get lit up. If you don't hang pitches, you're going to probably be pretty good. McCullers was hanging everything. Everything was right. You go look at the box. They were going over it last night on MLB Network, where all of these pitches ended up were all in hit me spots. But according to this catcher, don't know the name, could be anybody. I don't know. But whoever it was said for them, the alarm went off when guys didn't swing at dirty pitches that they normally would swing at. Like, how does he not offer at that split when we know the research, the data, the scouting reports all say Hunt and Heater always swings over, good splits, and now he's just Oh, you're looking at the guest?
I'm trying to see if
our guy Johnny Gomes was on today. We haven't had him on in a long time.
I think he still works for the D-backs, so yeah, they didn't have it from. Was it today you heard this?
Today, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have anything on that.
As I was trying to figure out the Instapot.
Yeah, my wife uses that too.
So Mike Ferrin's good. What time are we playing Ferrin?
2:30.
Okay, coming up here at 2:30. I interviewed Mike Ferrin from SiriusXM, who will be doing the pregame show tonight. They're starting at what, 2 our time?
Yeah, 2 our time.
And with our good friend Kevin Franzen, former San Jose State Spartan great.
And the white whale of guest booking for me anymore. We got him once. That'd be Jim Bowden, the former GM.
So as I'm doing the interview with Mike Ferrin from the studio, I get the text from my wife because I woke up this morning and I saw chicken, all kinds of cans, and all kinds of seasoning laid out on the counter. And I'm looking at the dog, and he's looking at me, and we're like, well, that's interesting. And then I get a text while we're doing the interview with Mike Ferrin that I need to put all these ingredients in the Instapot. I've never used the Instapot. My wife uses the Instapot. I've never used it. I didn't know it has a crock pot feature. Did you know that? The slow cooker is the crock pot feature.
Did not know that.
Didn't know that. So I reply, I'm doing an interview. So I get out of this interview. Cody's coming over, and I got to get ready for when Cody comes over because you know what a pain in the you-know-what he is. So here I am, and it's a tablespoon of cumin. It's chili powder. It's some type of taco crock pot soup thing. It's chicken. It's a packet. It's all salt. It's all this kind of, I got to chop up parsley and and I'm doing all this. And I'm like, I don't even know. Where's the lid? Because I've seen the crock pot in motion before. Where's it? You got to put the lid on. And I didn't know you got to, nothing that says crock pot up. It's a slow cooker. So yeah, I had that dilemma today using the Instapot for the very first time and putting a ton of ingredients in there with pieces of chicken, and it's going as we speak.
Yeah, my wife uses that a lot. I think I've only used the Instapot, I think, once or twice.
I've had buddies do ribs before for like tailgates where you do it in the Instapot, just bring the ribs and they were actually pretty good. And he said, all I did was ribs, barbecue spot, go on Instapot. I am a smoker, as you know. Traeger for life. I would never do that, but I have had Instapot ribs, and they were quite delicious.
Yeah, well, when my wife makes the chicken and stuff in there, it turns out pretty good. It's always the best when her grandmother calls and asks how to use the Instapot. She has to explain over the phone to her soon-to-be 80-year-old grandmother how to use the Instapot. That's always great. That's always great conversation.
I'm finding out you just got to put stuff in there and hit the button
hit a
and
button,
let it go.
And then when
that's not how I like to cook.
No. I know when you make rice too, you have to like turn the lid and make sure the steam comes out. And I'm like, there's so many steps for this. Why can't it just be easy? Why can't I just make the rice on the stove?
You know, Cody, there's certain things in life, and I'll share this with you. There's certain things that are just better to buy. Can I give you one? I'm going to give you one. It is better to buy brisket. It just is. Brisket is an art form. If you want to be that person that invests the time and the money in making brisket, first of all, is a terrible, cheap piece of meat. But it's delicious when done right. And you're going to have to do it for hours upon hours. It's got to cook super slow. Do you know why it's got to cook super slow?
I don't.
Because it's a crap piece of meat. You got to cook it for hours. Then they want you to take it out. People wrap it in towels. You know what I'm talking about, what a brisket is, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to wrap it in towels. And then they put it in a cooler. I mean, there's all this crazy stuff these people do to make brisket at home. Versus go to a barbecue joint. That's legit. We've got a ton of them in the Bay Area. And buy your brisket. And not do 12 to 14 hours. Oh, but I do it on the green egg. I've had so many buddies. I do it on the green egg. The problem is the temperature of the brisket, because they're big pieces of crap meat, it ends up stalling. So all of a sudden your thermometer doesn't change and you panic. You got to not panic. There's all these secrets to cook. And when you do it right, and people actually do brisket in crock pots, and because you got to do it a long time. Why? Because it's a cheap piece of meat. It's garbage meat. But when done right, it's really, really tasty. And I've just discovered that after screwing up briskets and spending all that time and all that, I rather just buy it or have somebody else do it.
Well, good to know. I went and had barbecue last night for my birthday.
Oh, how was your barbecue? How was your birthday dinner?
It was good. We went to Henry's High Life.
I love Henry's High Life.
Over by the Shark Tank.
Right by the Shark Tank. At one point, Henry's High Life, the building is so old, on top of it are rooms. It was a brothel back in the day in downtown San Jose.
Did not know. Well, I mean, you've been here a lot longer than me, so I did not know that.
Yeah. At one point it was a brothel. Now it's a great barbecue joint. Historic. If you live in the South Bay, Henry's High Life. We get commercials for it. I doubt our East Bay brethren see those commercials. Usually those commercials are for, you can buy commercials on television for certain areas. So a lot of people, because you'll see it during Sharks games. Maybe they see them, maybe they don't. But Henry's High Life, if you're ever going to a Sharks game, it's just right down the street from the Shark Tank. It's been a barbecue place forever. It's a like a San Jose legend.
Yeah.
And the food is fantastic. Tons of beers on tap. Old school feel. Good food.
And now they have outdoor seating. Well, it wasn't great last night because after it rained, but it's a great spot to go to. So I enjoyed the dinner there last night.
My wife apologizes for not getting you something for your birthday.
That's okay.
We've been dealing with a lot of family issues.
No, it's okay. I mean, sorry.
I'll just end up buying you stuff in San Diego when we're there for the winter meetings.
Yeah, we got. That's a month from now. Like a month and like a
you
few days.
Realize we are T- whatever from no longer talking games, and we're now going to have to ad nauseum talk Aaron Judge. I was thinking about that last night.
Whoa, Carlos Correa too.
It's Carlos Correa will be like, if Aaron Judge is up here, Correa will be down here. Coming up next, Kiss of Death. Kiss of Death. I saw something last night that I saw and I went, that's not a good idea. What is it? I'll have it for you next, right here on A's Cast Live.
Oakland Athletics spring training is right around the corner, and you can be part of the excitement. Get your tickets now and plan ahead for a fun-filled trip to Mesa, Arizona this spring. Pack the sunscreen, bring your friends, pick up some ballpark classics, and watch your green and gold get ready for the regular season. Get your tickets today to see the Athletics take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. Tickets are on sale now at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
Senior writer for MLB Pipeline Jim Callis was on A's Cast Live and discussed which A's prospect impressed him at the Arizona Fall League.
Zach Geloff kind of stood out to me the most. I'll tell you what surprised me the most about him. He looked pretty good at second base. I think of him as more of a third baseman. I know they play him a lot at second. He looked pretty good at second base when I saw him. I was there for a week. I'll go back to the final week too. But he was pretty impressive. I mean, I know he can hit. He's moved real quick in the minors. I remember I actually saw him for the first time in Arizona. We broadcast the MLB4 tournament. This would have been 2019. It was his first game he played in college. I remember watching him in BP thinking, I'd never heard of him. The way we split the draft in MLB, I have half the country, but I didn't have Zach Geloff, who's from New Jersey. So I didn't really know much about him. I'm like, man, this guy looks really good in BP. And then he hit 3 doubles in the game. But I think Zach Geloff, I think the question is he a guy who's a solid player versus a guy who's like a cornerstone you build a team around? He might be more of that solid regular than a, true star you build around. But he looked really good in Arizona.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Hey, A's fans, you know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay Bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Hitting the road with the family. On your way to nonstop adventures, no worries ahead, because you know you can stop at a Chevron station along the way. Get fuel for your car, fuel for your crew. That's Chevron with Techron for unbeatable mileage and snacks for all. Coffee for mom, chips for the kids, cold drinks for dad, for the road ahead. Toss in some laughs, out-of-tune singing, and a zillion "Are we there yet?" And you just made lifelong family memories. Chevron, together ahead.
Streaming from the East Bay, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Cody, you try to tell me all this stuff about the Astros, and I end up getting these notes that contradict everything you were talking about. You want to know how good that vaunted offense is?
Well, not good in the World Series right now.
No. Your Astros, who you said were just, by the way, got the A's coffee mug going again today. You know where I got this?
I would say spring training, but it's probably wrong.
Nope. Dwight Walker. This coffee cup, 2000 and what was the first year? When I started 95.7 the game, everybody seems to forget that.
2011 the station came around.
Dwight Walker was the general manager of the cluster for Intercom.
Now Odyssey.
And the A's, when they signed with Intercom, sent over a gift basket to the general manager, Dwight Walker, who I used to also work for at Susquehanna at KMBR. And he calls me in, and they've just done the deal, and we're going to start 95.7 the game. And in his gift basket was this mug from the A's to him. I looked at him, and I said, "You're never going to use that." And he goes, "Go ahead, have it." I've had it ever since. This is from 2011.
So it's 11 years. It's impressive. No cracks, no breaks.
No breaks. The apostrophe in the A's is now gone.
Did that fade from the dishwasher?
Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, still holding strong.
You know what bobblehead, by the way, we haven't seen up here yet? Is it still too soon to get the Bob Melvin wins counter bobblehead up here?
Way too soon. Way too soon. We got to have Bob on the show.
That's all you. I don't want to reach out.
But that's too soon for me. Bob Melvin, seen a Bob Melvin bobblehead way too soon. It might take years. It might take a season over 500 before that comes out of the box.
Speaking of A's managers, Kotz was on MLB Network the other day talking.
You realize that's the bobblehead that's counting down the most wins in A's history.
Yeah.
In Oakland A's history.
Yes. Kotz was on MLB Network Radio
right,
yesterday.
He passed La Russa, right?
Yeah, he did. Bob did. But yeah, Kotze was on MLB Network Radio yesterday or Monday.
What did Kotz have to say?
I saw the clip from MLB Network Radio talking about how to pitch to Altuve. Well, I mean, he was hitting well until yesterday when he went 0 for 4. But yeah, good to hear.
Really? You're really going to say he's been hitting well because he has a couple games? I mean, the body of work is not – it's been awful.
Yeah, well, he was 0 for 25, then he was 6 for 15, and then he went 0 for 4 last night.
Yeah, we'll put that all together. Well, that's bad.
Well, I told you since game one, Tucker, Altuve, Bregman, and Alvarez are hitting – they're 7 for 42 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I saw the note. It's bad. They had it all over MLB last night. Bad. You want to know what their hitters are for the World Series? Astros are hitting 218. OPS, 644. Is that any good?
No.
10 runs scored.
Not good.
3 home runs. That's actually not bad.
It's crazy to hear. Well, they're not. They hit home runs, but they're a contact hitting team.
They're 4 for 16 with runners in scoring position.
Did you see the stat about the Phillies last night in that category?
Well, we're sticking with the Astros.
Oh, okay.
They're hitting 250, which is not all that bad. They just don't have a lot of guys on base. Astros are not hitting. So that's why I don't want to be looked at like, you're just joking around. You've been riding the Phillies are hitting. Phillies are pitching. Here's a crazy stat about the Phillies. Nola and Wheeler have combined to allow 10 runs in 9 1/3 innings. Those are the two horses. You like to talk horses. Is that the trough from the?
Yes, last sidebar. You just noticed that now.
I that is an awesome shirt.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know why people don't like the trough. I don't. It's efficient. You go in, everybody does their business, you leave. At Wrigley Field, I don't know if they've changed it, but the last time I was at Wrigley in the stands with my father, God rest his soul, there was just a line. So you get in line at Wrigley Field, and as people leave the trough, you fill in. And it was a machine of men going to the bathroom. It was efficient. It was fast. It's way fast. The trough, and certain parts of the Coliseum still has the trough. That's why you have the shirt. It's just way faster. And isn't that what we want? Efficiency and fast. Eyes forward, efficiency and fast.
I agree. When I was in Ireland, last September for our honeymoon, one of the bars we went into, pubs, had their bathroom was troughs, which was interesting because I thought I only saw that at the Coliseum, but no,
Wrigley has them.
The country of Ireland uses them as well. So it was, but yeah, I saw this shirt and I was talking to Brian from Last Dive Bar about it, and he goes, "You know that it's the second most popular item on their website behind obviously I think it's the Coliseum shirt, the Last Dive Bar Coliseum shirt." And then he goes, "You should get the tie-dye one." So I ordered the tie-dye one because why not? Why not order a tie-dye shirt?
Right there. Images of the trough at Wrigley Field. Does Wrigley Field still have troughs? According to this is 2013, Cubs spokesman and urinal user Julian Green told me that the park's bathrooms will be expanded and some standard one-man urinals, let's call them short troughs, added. The historical communal tinkle traps will remain in place. The trough is not going away at Wrigley Field. Troughs will stay. God bless it. It's American tradition.
Well, I mean, I'm looking right now. ESPN did a story. The ugly and, yes, slightly gross truth of stadium bathrooms. This is a story. It can't be the same Dave Fleming. No, there's no way. Dave Fleming wrote this story. It's a different Dave Fleming. It has to be. I was trying to see what stadiums.
2019, and it's inside the women's bathroom. What are we talking about here? They don't have troughs.
I was trying to see what kind of what stadium still use troughs. So we got Wrigley and the Coliseum.
I remember this too about Fenway Park. Fenway Park, their bathrooms flood every game. Every game I've ever been to at Fenway Park, when you go into where the fans are and they urinate, there is a puddle. Old Yankee Stadium was terrible too. I haven't been to new Yankee Stadium. Old Yankee Stadium was terrible. I need to get back to something that I've been following along with. MLB.com has been doing 5 questions. You'd see Martin Gallegos, our great writer for MLB.com covering the A's.
I think he did his already too.
He's done his. Yeah. And then you start going, like, everybody's done one so far. So we need to kind of like round these up for the winter meetings. So for the San Francisco Giants, kiss of death here. 5 biggest questions for the Giants in the offseason. Number 2, could they add another shortstop even with Brandon Crawford still under contract?
Yes.
Number 3, will Carlos Rodon re-sign?
No.
Number 4, will Longoria, Belt, or Peterson return?
Yes.
Which ones?
I think Belt's gone. I think Belt's going to Texas. I'll throw it out there right now. Brandon Belt will be a Texas Ranger with Bruce Bochy. For some reason, I think Longoria comes back.
Jock? Palo Alto High?
They didn't let him hit against lefties, so probably not.
Okay. Number 5. Biggest questions for the Giants this offseason. How can they close the gap with the Dodgers and the Padres?
Stop playing 4A guys every day.
That is your top 4. This is what I said, because now I've lingered on. But I said, once this thing ends, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday, right? Am I right on the scheduling? Depending on who wins the World Series and how many games.
Game 5 tomorrow, Sunday, the game Saturday 6.
We're not going to have, I mean, it's like 65 degrees for God's sakes in Philly right now. So the bad weather's gone. So we're going to have tonight and tomorrow. So if Philly wins tonight and tomorrow, it's over.
Astros win tonight. And
we got at least Saturday.
We got at least Saturday.
And then the kiss of death, Sunday, game 7 against the NFL. That's worst case scenario for baseball.
Let me see who the Sunday night football game is, too.
Yeah, doesn't baseball, can't they just go, you know what? We're going to take Sunday off and we're going to play on Monday. Can't they do that?
They probably not. They already had the pushback games already.
Why? Why can't they do that? Why can't they do that? Everybody's going to be there. Game on Saturday. Let's say Astros win Saturday, force a game 7, or Phillies win Saturday, force a game 7. Why not say TV's already here? Suck it up, Fox. You don't want it. Fox, you rather do Monday night anyway.
Who do you think the Sunday night football game is?
I have no clue. It's not Raiders.
It's Titans at Chiefs. A lot of people are going to be watching the game. Derrick Henry versus Patrick Mahomes.
Derrick Henry has just tied O.J. Simpson, the great juice. The juice is loose. Let the juice free. And Adrian Peterson, I believe, for most 200-yard games in a career. That is a legit stat.
I saw the list. It was crazy. It was like he had 200 career games versus whoever. Then he has like 4 200 career games against just the Texans alone.
But to tie O.J. Simpson.
And Adrian Peterson, he's only like
O.J. Simpson got 2,000 yards in 14 games. Not 16, 14 games. I know we it's tough to separate O.J., but O.J. as a football player was incredible.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's 28 years old. He already has 7,500 career rushing yards. It's pretty impressive.
What's Emmett at? This is which will never be broken.
Emmett's like, is he at 16 or 17,000?
He's at 16.
Emmett Smith, 18,355 yards.
Unbreakable records right there. Because no running back is ever going to get enough touches to even come close to that.
Emmett played in 226 games. Derrick Henry in his
career,
don't
utilize running backs like that anymore.
Derrick Henry's the only guy that even comes close, and he doesn't.
He's not even halfway there.
I know. And he's only played 93 games.
Yeah. You think Nolan Ryan's strikeouts are out of the question?
Or Wayne Gretzky's goals?
Emmitt Smith, yards rushing will never be touched.
Yeah, like here's for example. Derrick Henry rushed the ball 378 times in 2020. Last year, he only played in 8 games last year because he was hurt. This year, he already leads the league with 166 rushes in 7 games.
Give the man the football. He's a bell cow.
Yeah, they're 5-2. Give him the ball. But anyway.
I still don't even know what a bell cow is.
It's a football term.
All right.
Just like gentleman sweep.
I know. We used to talk about it all the time. He's a bell cow back. Well, what the hell does that mean? No one knows what gentleman sweep is, and your gentleman sweep is so over.
So could happen. The Phillies could gentleman sweep the Astros now.
Oh, God. All right. The reason why I brought this up, and yes, I think the NFL, I think going up against the NFL on Sunday is awful. It's a bad move. I'd rather go up against the NFL on a Monday night. I have no idea who the Monday night game is, but I'd rather go up against the NFL on a Monday night head-to-head.
Saints-Ravens.
Then versus, I'd rather go Saints-Ravens on Monday night than Sunday when everybody is just consumed. Because what happens on Sunday is the NFL fan watches games, highlight shows all day long. You're consumed by it. You're consumed by your fantasy guys, who you're playing fantasy guys, you're gambling, your wins, your losses. Now, am I taking my wins and doubling down on the Sunday night game, or am I chasing? Am I chasing my losses as a gambler on Sunday Night Football? You get into NFL mode on Sunday. Bad for baseball. I would say, I don't care. We're moving it. Fox, we're moving it to Monday.
Well, that's why last Monday.
What the hell is on Fox on Monday night anyway?
Great question. Probably sitcoms or something. Like last week, or 2 days ago, if you were on Monday night for the World Series Game 3 that got rained out, You'd be going up against Halloween, which Philadelphia, and I'm sure people will show up still, and they get a lot of the ratings will be good in Philadelphia. And the Monday night game was Browns-Bengals. I don't know if a lot of people were really tuning in to see Browns-Bengals, but the World Series, I think you can go up and get match. No one goes up against the NFL. We know this already, but Saints-Ravens, I think you might be able to pull some viewers away because the Saints, well, they weren't very good, and then they did shut out the Raiders. And the Ravens are the Ravens. Are you trying to see what's on Fox?
Yeah, can I get a lineup? Fox Monday lineup. I don't need.
All I know is WWE SmackDown's on Fox on Friday nights, which they have it all to themselves on Friday this week because there is no World Series conflict, so they will be on Fox. They get bumped to FS1 when there's a conflict.
It would be the 7th?
Yes.
All right. What do we got?
Remember the TV guide?
Local programming from 6 to 8. 8 o'clock is Cursed. And at 9 o'clock is the cleaning lady.
I don't know what any of that is.
Huh?
I don't know what any of that is.
Cleaning lady is, I only know this from watching football games and also baseball games. She's a cleaning lady that fights bad people.
Oh, okay.
She's been forced into this role of fighting bad people. Cursed, I have no idea what that is. But 911. So that's
and that's all that's Eastern time too, I believe you're looking at.
So there you go.
That's what's on.
Move the game. But my whole point is, the reason why I even got into all this was after
not
this.
to talk about Derrick Henry.
After this is all over, it's all about Aaron Judge. This whole thing, you know what? I wanted to ask Mike Ferrin, who's coming up. I forgot to ask him this, but we'll see him at the winter meetings. And Jim Bowden, who we're trying to get on after the World Series, what kind of package would you take for Shohei Ohtani?
I was going to say, I think that's the next biggest thing behind Judge is going to be what's going to happen with Ohtani. I know he signed through next year, but
because that a lot has to do with flat dollars and cents. Don't tell me about prospects. I'm losing millions of dollars in advertisement. What do I have to get back? Not only in talent, but I'm losing millions of dollars in advertising. Millions. So we'll get into that. But for instance, this is what I think is a really bad move for you Giant fans. And it's why I wanted to bring up Aaron Judge. The number one question for the Giants in the offseason. Not all that other stuff about their team, re-signing, who you bring in. How do you get better? How do you get better at scoring runs? How do you get better at preventing runs? Isn't that the name of the game?
Yes.
Their number one thing, according to, who's this person? Who wrote it?
I think it's Maria Gordado.
Yeah. Her number one thing is, will they make a serious run at Aaron Judge? So right now, because sloppy inside information, I'm going to call it sloppy. The San Francisco Giants have put a bullseye on their back. They've let it get out because somebody had to let it out. We're going to do everything we can to sign him. Nobody is going to outbid us. So you've set your offseason goal as number one because you've let it out. You've leaked it out. That your number one thing is to sign Aaron Judge. No matter what, the PR stunt to sign Judge, will he make your team better? No question about it. Will he get that number 5? What was the number 5 question?
Bridging the gap between the Dodgers and Padres.
Does he bridge that gap? With not knowing anything else you're going to do in the offseason, does just bringing in Aaron Judge close the gap of the Dodgers and the Padres?
No.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
I'm gonna lean no, but it could.
Could, but you don't know. So that's the goal right now. How do we get from being closer to the Padres and the Dodgers than we are to the D-backs and the Rockies?
You don't want Chris Bryant? That was a great first year for him.
So that's my question. How do I get closer to San Diego and LA than I do to Colorado and Arizona?
What was the second question? Will the Giants sign a shortstop?
Yeah.
You know who Jim Bowden in his article on The Athletic said
Trey Turner, Carlos Correa.
For like $315 million, Correa to the Giants. I think that's what it was. To make sure they were a horrible defensive team that makes your defense better.
Are you really sold on Carlos Correa? Not as a broadcaster, as a future broadcaster. Let me bring it. Are you really sold? I'm not even going to go to the numbers because obviously he has told us on his broadcast. He was on TBS.
Yeah, correct, TBS.
He's really into the numbers.
He is.
You know what number he's not really into?
Batting average?
Games played. The best ability is availability. And this young man who wants a lot of money, he's not the Cal Ripken of modern day shortstops. Let's just say that.
136 games played this year.
Great. I'm going to pay $300 million for 136 games.
148 the year before. He played in 58 of 60. Then 2019, he played in 75 games.
2019, well, that was the massage year.
I think so. Yeah.
What was the massage year? Don't look it up.
We don't know what kind of Google results will come up if you type in that.
So 2018, how many did he play in?
110.
So I'm looking at.
He's played 150 games once in his career. And it was age 21.
2017. Season. How many did he play in?
109.
Now he was coming up, young kid. I get it.
Well, no, he played 99 games.
Yeah. I get it. You could say he's 22 years old, but this is 109, 110, 75. He did play in 58 in the COVID year out of 60. Okay. But 148, 2021. I like that. Next year, 136. So this is when you're the most healthy in your career, right? It's when you're young. This guy is not a everyday. He's not everyday Eddie Guardado.
Well done, Twins legend. By the way, he's a 39.5 WAR already. How? I mean, he's a good player, but you're telling me he could be in another 8 years if he plays the number of games he's played, he could be a Hall of Famer based on WAR?
If he plays long enough. I mean, he's a terrific player.
He's a great talent.
My question is, can he? I mean, you sign him and you get 125 games. Am I paying $300 million for a guy he's been nothing but hurt? Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, he has been, and I said he's played in 150 games once, and it was his age 21 year, so second year in the league. That was a knock on Judge forever. Judge had played 155 games his rookie year, where he finished second in the MVP, but he won Rookie of the Year, hit 52 home runs. Then age 26 season, 112, age 27 season, 102. He played 28 games in the COVID year. He played 148 last year, then 157 this year. So he's been healthier. But yeah, there's a health issue with Judge too.
But getting back to the point that I teased a half hour ago, your number one thing here on the San Francisco Giants is, will they make a serious run at Aaron Judge? That's your number one thing right now. Giant fans that we know are already telling us Judge is coming to San Francisco.
I've heard that a lot.
Okay. If it all goes the way I think it's going to go, he doesn't leave New York. Whether he stays a Yankee or a Met, he's not leaving New York. And if you think you're going to outbid Steve Cohen, good luck with that. So how are you setting yourself up as a front office where you've let it leak? Right? That should have been Farhan and just like the immediate family. We could have said inside, listen, we're going after this dude. We need to bring a Barry Bonds-like guy back to the Bay Area because we know a Barry Bonds-like player works to fill our stadium because our attendance has been dipping. Our attendance stinks. And we're lucky the A's are across the bay and everybody's talking about that attendance and not focusing on ours because they should be focusing on the Giants' attendance. The season ticket holder base has dropped. They should focus on that, but everybody's too focused on ripping us. They should focus on that. But they know a Barry Bonds-like guy works here. So, but if in the end the Yankees offer $300 million and his legacy is the Yankees and all that, and you don't get him, now what? You just said your number one thing is getting this guy. Now what? That's dumb. That to me is dumb business.
I read an article on The Athletic from Grant Brisbee. He used to work at McCovey Chronicles, now is an writer for The Athletic. He pretty much said that he does not think the Giants will finish in the first or second in the race, potentially even third for Aaron Judge. And it brings it back to the Giants. These are all rumors, just like they were going to get Bryce Harper. They were going to get Giancarlo Stanton. They were going to get Shohei Ohtani, and they didn't get any of those guys. So now you have it leaked out there that you're not going to be outbid. You got the Yankees, the Mets, and the Dodgers potentially.
What does that mean? Like, okay, we offered $325. The Yankees offered $320. But you got a better chance for your legacy and to have a monument next to Babe Ruth and Derek Jeter in New York versus San Francisco. So you can let the numbers fly any way you want, right? You can say, we outbid everybody, and who's gonna, in the end, it's like the A's will tell you, we offered $90 million to Jason Giambi, and Jason Giambi has told us on this program he was never offered a contract.
The only team that did was the Yankees.
So there was like Arn Tellem was his agent at the time. Maybe Arn and Billy talked, whatever. So there was a number out there, but there was never official paper, $90 million. So that's the game you want to play? That in the end, the Giants can say at the win, Aaron Judge re-signs with the Yankees. Giants at the winter meetings to say, hey, we offered him more. What, do you have the contract offer? Can we get an email of that? Oh, no, that was just between Ferrin and the agent. I don't know who his agent is. But it's like you've set yourself up for a major disappointment. And then you set yourself up for you get Aaron Judge. Well, if Aaron Judge shows up and hits 42 home runs.
And not 62?
And not 62.
Well,
you've now paid him $350 million, and he's in his 30s.
Well, first of all, his agent's PSI Sports Management.
I have no idea what that is.
Same. If he hits 42, well, he'd be the first player since Barry Bonds at 30 home runs in a season for the Giants. So that's a plus right there. But you're paying him that much money that you were hoping he'd hit 50 or 60 home runs. I don't know. Some Giants fans will take that as a positive that he hit 42 home runs. But where they
finished third place and hits 42 home runs.
They missed the playoffs? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
probably a little different. There'll be the casual fans like, 42 runs, that's great. Then the diehard fans are like, we signed this guy for this,
and we got 8 more years, or 9 more years, because we're going to give him one guy. We're giving everything to. I don't know. Good luck, but I'm just saying you are setting yourself up for a dramatic letdown. If the Yankees come in and say, let's work this out. And they work it out, which is really likely to happen. And then you look like jackasses coming out and going, we're not going to get outbid. And we, like, what? Why would you even leak that out? Why? Why would you even? How does that escape the confines of your offices? And what kind of bargaining is that? You want everybody in the baseball world to know, and you want his agents to know that they could just be, isn't that? I mean, I can just say this. If I was an agent and these dumbasses are leaking out of their offices that they will not be outbid, that's my leverage I need against the Yankees. Hey, he's from Linden. Hey, he's from the Central Valley. Hey, he grew up a Rich Aurelia fan. Hey, Yankees, you got to pay more. And the Yankees offer X. And I go back and go, but his wife's mom still works in the school district in Linden. I mean, all the stupid things we've heard. Oh, my God. Hey, Judge, he wants to get back home. Yankees offer more money. And then they offer more money. And then they go, you know what? Great. Here you go. He re-signs with the Yankees. And the Giants were just used as leverage. And they look like clowns. They'll look like, if they put this on the books, mark the tape.
Oh, another one. We somehow played your Yankees one.
If the Giants don't sign Aaron Judge, they'll look like clowns. Is
that a hot take?
Mark my words.
I did. I marked it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, you never played my. Do we have my Yankee prediction before we get to our good friend Mike Ferrin?
Let me see. I know I put it in here. Let me make sure I still have it. That's it. Yep. Here, you want it?
Yeah, here you go. People say I don't know what I'm talking about. People say my predictions aren't right. You say, Townsend, you don't know this, you don't know that. I said this in, what was the date?
It was like some late June.
Late, because they play. It was like June 27, 28, 29. I said in late June, while the A's were in New York, I said this. 1:12 Pacific Standard Time, 1:12 p.m., June 27th. Mark this and remember what I told you. The Yankees will not win the World Series. One line. All I need is one line to be smarter than all those Yankee hacks, everybody at the MLB Network, everybody at Newsday, Times, Post, all those Yankee honks. I'm telling you, one line will tell you why they won't win the World Series.
What's the line?
The Yankees lead the majors this season with 52.6% of their runs coming via the home run. 193 of their 367 runs have come from the home run. More than half of their runs scored are generated by home runs. That's how they score. That's who they are. That's who they've been now for a long, long time.
So you got that one, yeah. And you said I wouldn't find it. You said I didn't mark it, said I didn't save it.
Not only did they not go to the World Series, not only did they not win the World Series, they didn't go to the World Series.
They even won a game in the ALCS.
Oh, go back to me fighting with Vince Cotroneo during that time because he's a Yankee guy a little bit. And Vince and I were going after it. Yeah. Where is everybody now? I told you. Yankees my
bleep.
Yeah. I told you. Yankees won't win the World Series. I do not like, though, that so much is about the home run. Like, the Phillies have out-homered their opponents 17-6.
I think I have before we get to Ferrin, I think I have the percentage.
I mean, you can't predict. I mean, the Cleveland was hitting home runs.
Yeah, that's the majority of the runs came from the home run.
I hate that.
Here it is. 65.9% of runs via the home run in the postseason for the Astros, 45.8 runs via the home run in the postseason for the Phillies. The Phillies were only one of, I wanted to give you this before we were talking about it earlier. The Phillies were one of, where's the stat at? Most runs.
Play up at the corners.
Sorry, Lon.
Lon Simmons.
Yeah, sorry. That was from the other day. I had it in the same playlist. The Phillies, most games in a postseason game, 0 hits or runners in scoring position. The Phillies had 7 runs with no hits with runners in scoring position. That's impressive. The other teams, the 1977 Yankees had 8. The 2004 Cardinals had 7. And where were you at in 1928 when the Yankees did it was 7?
Yeah, it wasn't there.
So there you go. That's that list. And then teams, Sarah had this stat last night. Teams are 58-13 in World Series history when hitting 3 or more home runs. The Phillies' 5 home runs were tied for the most on a World Series game with the 2017 Game 5 Houston Astros, the one into extra innings, the 1928 Yankees again, and the 1989 Oakland Athletics. So there you go. There's some history for you on the home run. But yeah, almost 66% of the Astros runs are coming on the home run, 46 for the Phillies.
This has just come down. Has nothing to do with baseball, but it is very interesting. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Virginia has opened a criminal investigation into allegations that the Washington Commanders engaged in financial focus on several areas. So that basically the headline is U.S. Attorney's Office investigating Commanders over financial issues. Uh-oh.
Yeah, plus it came out today earlier that Dan Snyder he would consider selling the team, I think is what I saw as a headline.
Uh-oh.
That's the owner of the Commanders, Dan Snyder.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready for Mike Ferrin?
I am ready for Mike Ferrin. Earlier today, he's in Philly, so I had to wake up at 6 a.m. because that's what the commander does to me as he books guests in the middle of the night. I had to wake up at 6 a.m. to do this wonderful interview. Our buddy Mike Ferrin, from his hotel room in Philadelphia. As of right now, he is actually on the air doing the World Series pregame on Sirius XM. We caught up with Mike earlier today. Ferrin, our friend, I got to tell you, it is great to see you in Philadelphia. I just wanted you to know that I bust out a spring training shirt today in honor of you, because when we think of you, we think of the Valley of the Sun. We think of spring training. We think of hope. We think of the A's having a chance when we see you down at spring training. But obviously, you're in Philly for the World Series. How's everything going?
Everything's good in the Delaware River Valley. So it's things are great. It's been fun so far. I think it's safe to say that most everybody is surprised that the Phillies are up 2-1 at this point. I saw somebody complaining to our channel that we should stop acting like everybody's surprised, but like everybody's surprised. I mean, this is they were 19 wins behind Houston over the course of the season. So it's been fun so far. The atmosphere in this ballpark has been incredible in both the league championship series and here. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, I got to tell you, listening to Sirius XM channel number 89, it's just, always hearing you guys in studio versus getting now you at the ballpark. A lot how we do our show for home games and we're live on the field. There's just a different energy. There's just a different sound. And I think, obviously the rain out sucked, but just talk about yesterday, just what it's like at the bank. Because on TV, the place looks rocking.
Yeah, so it's, I covered playoff games here back in the last good Phillies run. So in 10 and 11, I had some of it. None of their World Series years, but while they were still good. And the level of intensity in the ballpark is similar, but there's a little bit different energy to it in that it feels a little bit younger. It actually reminds me a little bit of Fenway last year in the ALCS, which was a pretty great environment, but it is loud. I mean, when Harper homered last night, I was sitting, basically we're sitting in a desk area, right? And there was an empty chair between me and Jim Bowden, who's doing this part of the World Series with me. And I turned to say something to Jim, just at a normal voice, and he looked at me and went, "What?" So, I mean, it was just absolutely incredible, and the place lost its mind. The 2 homers in the second, and then obviously the back-to-back homers, the chase and the colors in the 5th. I mean, it was rocking. It has been rollicking in Philly for sure.
Well, and you don't really see this too often, and to have an American sports city, to have so much going on at the same time, it's so special. When you got your NFL team undefeated, you got your team in the World Series. It doesn't happen a lot. We've experienced a little bit. We've seen a lot of it in Boston with the Patriots and the Red Sox, but just being in town, what is it like right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's great energy. I mean, I think it's like, I was trying to parse this out this morning because, Houston is, I think, gets a little bit underappreciated for how it supports the Astros. I mean, it really is loud in that building too. And I think I probably saw more Astros gear on the street in Houston than I have in Philly, but Philly is a little bit more, it's a little bit bigger downtown area, right? I mean, Houston, I think, is bigger population wise, but there's some good old fashioned urban sprawl in Houston, right? Where everything is a little bit packed in Philly. So it hasn't had, it's not like I've seen Philly stuff on every single person going by, but there's definitely an energy to it. They have all the banners rolled out. They have, the Phillies hats on statues and they turned around the Reese Hoskins bat slam and turned it into a banner for street posts like within a couple of days. So like by the league championship series, that was up there. So they're definitely excited about it. I mean, this is a great sports town. I had forgotten how great it was, right? Because I hadn't been here for a number of years while the Phillies have been good. And man, they are just incredibly passionate. So it's fun to be downtown, to be able to see everybody kind of going about their business, but knowing that come 8 o'clock, they're locked on the Phils.
I've always liked Philly. I just was recently, right before COVID, we did a family trip where it was like a history trip, right? We did all the historical stuff in Philly. We went to DC, Philly, and then New York. And I've always really liked Philly. I mean, it's a town that believes Rocky Balboa is real. For
Right.
God's sakes, how do you not love these people?
Well, I mean, it's got a real underdog mentality, right? Like, I mean, that's Rocky was kind of the
It's not New York.
Yeah, I mean, they always have that. They're a little bit like Baltimore's a little bit like that too, right? For these East Coast cities, and that they always kind of get overshadowed by their bigger brethren. You know, in the case of Philly, it's New York that's 2 hours up the road. In the case of Baltimore, it's DC that's an hour down the road, right? But Philly is just it's a really working class city, and they embrace that underdog. And I'm not sure that they have the most underdog victories over the course of history, but it kind of feels like it, right? Because you had the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl were not favored in that, and they certainly embraced the image of Rocky, and they're clearly the underdogs in this, and so far so good for them.
I think a lot of fans, regular fans, are going to love this. I'm not sure traditional fans are going to love this, but what we are finally seeing in baseball is a tournament. And in a tournament, you just got to get in. And whether we're talking about college basketball, whether we're talking about what we have in the NFL, we're seeing it here in baseball. You can have whatever you want. You can talk about the regular season, and we just threw so much praise on the Dodgers. At one point, I remember when the A's were in New York in late June, we were already giving them World Series rings. I mean, when you're in a tournament, it's the hottest team, and no question, the Phillies are the hottest team, and lo and behold, they're hitting the most home runs, and here they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that it's always been a tournament, right, since divisional play started. I mean, if you go back to 69 even, I mean, in the 52 postseasons that have been played with some form of scheduled playoff, not a tiebreaker playoff, but an actual playoff, only 14 times has the team with the best record won the World Series. So that's what, 28%? It's always been that. I just think that there is more emphasis that's being put on it because we saw a bunch of 100-win teams go out early, right? Especially in the National League. I mean, you had three teams that were, out very quickly in the Mets and the Braves and the Dodgers on all of it in upset fashion. And then beyond that, you've got the Yankees. You got up to such a fast start. They really struggled down the stretch, but they were, thumped pretty handily by Houston, and Houston had the best record in the American League. I mean, let's point that out. If they do win the World Series and it's still within their grasp, I mean, they are a worthy discussion as to whether or not they were the best team over the course of the full season. I know they didn't finish with the most wins, but I think Jim Duquette pointed this out in one of our first broadcasts from the World Series, that the worst month that they had, their winning percentage was, I think, just a shade over 600. So they were pretty consistent in how good they were. But you're right. I mean, I think it's that tournament aspect of it is something that kind of got overlooked a little bit, but they're two separate things, right? The regular season is one thing, and winning in 162 games is completely different than winning in short series where luck plays a disproportionate factor. Whoever gets hot at the right time plays a disproportionate factor. Depth isn't quite as important as long as you have talent, and it does tend to even it out. And I really liked Kyle Schwarber's line about it, which was that that postseason baseball is the purest form of baseball because you're not worried about putting up numbers, right? Like that's part of what the regular season is. I mean, that's like guys get paid, right? So they're worried about putting up numbers. Now the only focus is winning, and that is whatever you do on a given night to win is all that matters. And I think he's right, and I think that gives you a look at both the marathon and the sprint that can be Major League Baseball.
Steve Sparks, who we actually had on yesterday, who you know well, said that a while back why he always likes postseason baseball, because now we're not worried about incentives. We're not worried about numbers. We're just about worrying about winning games. I've always thought that was a good point. One of the things that, we're taping this, so I'll say this, that we're going to go big in today in Dave Dombrowski, and he is the first GM I ever interviewed in my career back when he was with the Florida Marlins. So I remember how nervous I was. And then all these years of him, because he's the last guy that still travels with the team everywhere they go. So I've had him on this show so many times because of all the years doing my show in the visiting GM booth, and I've gotten to know him. And it's just so funny how we got into this world, and they use Moneyball, which is originated with the Oakland A's, and so much talk about Moneyball and GMs and analytics and everything. And to watch Dave Dombrowski run organization after organization and get all these different teams to the World Series, which it is all about, truly submitting that he will be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, is truly one of the great executives. He's a wonderful man, but just talk about all this guy has ever done for all these years, going back to the 90s, is win.
I mean, go back to the 80s, too. I mean, he won in Montreal. He just didn't have, necessarily the resources, and he made big deals even back then. I mean, I remember it was 89. He made the Mark Langston trade, was a huge deal. He gave up Randy Johnson in that trade, right, to get
San Jose State Spartan Mark Langston.
And Langston was one of the top pitchers in the American League at that point when he came over to Montreal. Montreal was locked in a pennant race with the Cubs and ended up fading. But, Dave has won everywhere in large part because he has understood the difference between what star players are and where role players fall. And he's not afraid to trade from, his organization's inventory of players to be able to acquire stars. Now, this situation was a little different in that he walked into one that already had the stars established, right? He didn't need to make the Miguel Cabrera trade. He didn't need to make the Chris Sale trade. He didn't need to spend Wayne Isenga's money to be able to build a roster in Miami. He already had those things available to him. And so this, I think, is a really interesting year because he was very creative in the way that he addressed some of their needs. I mean, if you look at the number of bullpen arms or position players that they had in key spots over the first half of the season that are no longer with the team, it's pretty remarkable, whether it's by injury for somebody like Corey Knebel or, Yuri's Familia being released. I mean, Odubel Herrera played a lot of center field. Didi Gregorius played a ton of shortstop. He was able to move those guys on and then acquire, players that could help. David Robertson, helped down the stretch in the bullpen. Noah Syndergaard has, helped in the pen, even though they acquired him more for, back end starter for innings. Getting Edmundo Sosa and Brandon Marsh to try and help the defense, which has made a big difference. And allowing them to, to have a workplace environment that allows the young players to come in and have success right away. And I think some of that, comes from the change in managers and Rob Thompson, which kind of settled everything down because he's a super calm guy. And the other is from the veteran players who, see the value in treating the young players the same as you would treat veterans because you need to get something out of them. And so, all of that comes from identifying talent and understanding makeup and understanding personnel. And, to your point about Dave still traveling to every road trip, and there aren't that many guys that do that anymore. He probably has a unique feel for how the clubhouse is working compared to some other general managers. And I think that lack of, listen, I know we throw a lot on, how homogenous the evaluative process is in the analytic era and all that. I mean, you go back to the time when Dave took over, there were teams that were in love with their prospects, right? And they wanted to keep them. They didn't want to move them. This is going back into the 80s when he had the opportunity with Montreal. So, I think there are just some things that a lot of executives could learn from his style and the aggressiveness in trying to build consistent winners, because that's what he's done. I mean, he has built consistent winning teams, and, he's got 4 different franchises that have won pennants as a result. And I think he's got 5 overall on the teams that he's won. And he's 2 wins away from a 3rd World Series championship with a 3rd different team. I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. For our younger listeners, he actually started before there were cell phones. Forget internet. There wasn't internet. There wasn't cell phones. Can you imagine? He ran a team without a cell phone. There was no Twitter, no Facebook. This guy's been around a long time.
The story on, in his senior thesis or whatever was on evaluating general managers, right? This is back in the early 80s. It may have even been the late 70s. And he basically took that paper to the winter meetings in Hawaii that year and passed it around and ended up getting hired by the White Sox, as an intern, his hometown team. So there's some really good stories in the background on Dave as well.
All right, let's I know you got to get going. Let's end on this. Let's go to the Astros side. A lot of people beating up Dusty Baker. I know I've done this in the postgame as I'm ranting and raving. Then I look down and go, yeah, we got shut out. Oh, yeah, we only scored one run. So I thought Smoltz put it well yesterday going, hey, listen, I'd rather lose like this, turn the page, and go into next tomorrow versus a nail-biter that maybe goes into extra innings. How do you think the psyche is right now for the Houston Astros? The bank's rocking. They haven't lost there. They're playing free and easy. How are the Astros feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably still pretty confident. I mean, I don't think anything's going to shake them. They've all been through this before, and they have a pretty good pitcher going tonight in Christian Javier, who, has the chance and the stuff to be able to dominate the Phillies lineup. You could see it turn just like, I mean, if the Astros won tonight 7-0, it wouldn't shock me if Javier performed like that. I would be more surprised about Aaron Nola having 3 straight clunker outings, in that kind of scenario. But I don't think that they're necessarily tight. I don't think that they're worried about that. I think they've been through this before. They've been down in postseason series. They've got a lot of experience. They have certainly faced hostile road environments, probably more so than any other team in baseball over the course of the last couple of years. So I don't think any of that factors into it. I mean, I do think that you're right. Like last night, the offense didn't do anything, and that's a big reason why they lost the game. I think the more concerning thing is that it's been a trend of 3 games in a row where the bullpen hasn't been at the ready when things were on the ropes. Game 1, there was a lot of attention paid to how late the pen got loose. Game 2, there was a situation where, Valdez gave up the first 2 base runners to start the 6th in a 5-0 game. And while he got out of it, there was no activity behind him. And then yesterday was the same case. McCullers, it's 4-0. I know he's at the bottom of the order, but there was nobody at the ready. By contrast, Rob Thompson had Andrew Bellotti up in the pen while Ranger Suarez was dealing in the 5th inning and facing the bottom of the order, and then switched to having Jose Alvarado up, just in case they got to that spot where they had to face Alvarez, a 3rd time. And so to be able to pull Suarez in that. So there has been a lack of urgency, I think, in terms of being ready to make a decision if you have to. They've kind of limited themselves. And, I would assume now at this point that that's not going to change, that Christian Javier is probably going to get his chance to work his way out of whatever situation he faces tonight. And, maybe it doesn't end up impacting them over the course of the series, but I think it is something that's worth watching.
All right. If you're listening on A's Cast, you can't see it, but if you're on Twitter or you're watching on YouTube, you see it. You're in a dress shirt. Are we going suit and tie for this?
Oh no!
Okay, I was like, "What's going on here?"
No. It's amazing that I put a shirt on with a collar. Here, wait a second. Here, this will be better. There you go. Yeah, so some lettuce.
Because that's not the Mike Ferrin I know. If I saw you in a suit and tie, I'd be like, "What the hell is going on around?"
I didn't want to show you up by showing off too much chest hair, so I went with the extra button to start. But now that we're loose, we're good.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be pullover over this.
A nice gold medallion with a rope. Yeah, you'd look. Yeah, that'd be perfect for Philly.
Dude, it's 70 here too. Like the weather's been crazy. Like it was warm last night, and it's going to be that way today and tomorrow too. I guess the benefit to the postponement of Game 3 is that we ended up with 2 incredible weather days, like days you don't normally get in November. So it's going to be pretty nice.
Are you going to show up to the ballpark in a Camaro?
I have my T-tops ready to go. Woo!
Hey, well, the good news is we're going to see you in San Diego for the winter meetings. Then we're going January. We're going to be out for fantasy camp. So I see A's Cast buying you a couple meals coming up here.
Well, I've never walked away from a free meal or drink, Townie, so I'm happy to do that. That'd be fun. I mean, if you're going to do A's Cast, I'll come down and from a Mesa, I'll come down and pop in the stadium visit if you want.
Hey, we may get you in that bat against Dallas Braden.
Let's not do that.
All right, buddy, we'll be listening. You guys sound great. There's just something different when you're at the ballpark, the energy and everything around it. I think until tell our fellow San Jose State Spartan we said hello.
I will tell Kevin Franzen that you send your love and admiration. Maybe not admiration, but your love.
Well, we missed him at the San Jose State baseball golf tournament.
Did he send a check at least?
That's what I'm wondering. Is he at least supporting the program with this extra money he's making?
I may have to drop that at the end of an hour here just to tweak him on the air. So
just say there's questions coming from the Bay Area, the South Bay. Are you contributing to your alma mater?
If you're listening and I haven't brought it up, send me a text and I will definitely put him on the spot.
Okay, I will be listening.
Good.
All right, buddy, you be well.
You too. Take care.
You can see right here, I have texted him, and it is the end of the hour. I wonder if he has got into our good friend Kevin Franzen about sending money back to the old San Jose State Spartan baseball team, since we just had homecoming, big win over Reno. Don't bring that crap, that biggest little city in America crap, down here. Took care of Reno, sent them back home. Up next, Colorado State. One more win, and the Spartans are bowl eligible.
By the way, I threw the idea of us going to Hawaii on Christmas Eve, and my wife was not thrilled about that. This is our first Christmas.
I would like, you know what? Let's clear that through your wife. Because, see, Cody now is an honorary San Jose State Spartan, as he is a season ticket holder. Let's go through your wife first, and if that gets cleared, that's a hurdle. My hurdle is way bigger.
This is our first,
because I got kids, and
Well, my wife and I, since we've been together overall, we've never spent Christmas together. She's always had to work. This is the first year where she doesn't have to work. So she already said no, but she was okay with us going to the Jimmy.
What the hell are you guys going to do in your little apartment?
That's true. Well, we're gonna have like 20 people there on Saturday from my birthday.
You got a little apartment. It's not like you're like going outside sledding in the snow together.
True.
I mean, come on.
But
are you riding snowmobiles in Tahoe? No.
She was okay with the Jimmy Kimmel Live Bowl if Spartans get into that one the weekend prior.
That was the 17th, right?
Yeah. So
we're golden. I mean, literally SoFi Stadium, Inglewood. We fly in LAX, Uber down, watch game, back to the airport, home. We're not even gone 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, well, we can do it. Yeah, LAX, Burbank, Long Beach, whatever.
Burbank too far.
Long Beach is actually a lot cheaper, and it's not that bad.
The LBC, whatever. We fly in, we fly out. We're not even gone. I mean,
you act like it's just us going. I'm sure we can get.
Oh, there'll be all my
some
buddies.
Of your friends will go. I'm sure. What our good friend.
We'll have all kinds of guys going. We'll have a whole party going.
Do you think we can?
We literally will leave here. Like the game's going to be at what, like 7 o'clock or something
like that. Yeah,
probably be earlier than that because it's ESPN bowl game. So it'll probably be like a 6 o'clock start. So we can fly out of here like at 3, get down there 2 o'clock, whatever. Grab a bite to eat, hit the stadium, watch the game, come home. We're not even going to be gone that long. Or how my friends will be like, well, let's go down for 3 days and we'll play golf and blah 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 blah. They'll try and make it out of some big, huge.
Well, we'll be off. I think we'll be off work then for our holiday break. So
we'll broadcast. We'll go set up at some sports radio station down there, and we'll broadcast A's Cast Live, getting you ready for the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
Actually, we'll just do it from SoFi.
Better yet. Coming up next, I went on to Twitter. I have a Twitter account that I don't tell any of you about because I don't tweet anything. I haven't tweeted one thing. I just follow baseball people and some. Yeah, really, I think all I do is follow baseball people and golf stuff. Back-to-back tweets from Baseball Quotes and the great Paul Hembekides. Paul Hembekides is educational. Baseball Quotes is a bad interaction between a legendary Astros fan and Philly fans. Let me tell you something. Astro fans have no shot against Philly fans. That's fact. We have it for you next right here. And I mean, I can't play it because it's just F-bombs. I'm just going to tell you, this is a clash of a fan versus an unbeatable fan base. Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Senior writer for MLB Pipeline Jim Callis stopped by A's Cast Live and discussed the prospects he likes in the A's farm system.
I like Ken Waldichuk. I think he's a little unheralded. I think Tyler Sauter, like Shea Langoliers got there this year. I really like Shea Langoliers. I think having Shea Langoliers makes it easier to let Tyler Soderstrom do what he does best, which is hit. And it's always tough when you have a really offensive-minded catcher like Tyler was, where if you catch him, it detracts from his hitting because of the time you have to devote to catching and then the physical toll. So I think they're going to get more out of Tyler Soderstrom's bat.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Bay Area locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Two-time All-Star and World Series champion Stephen Vogt joined Townie on A's Cast Live to explain why Oakland is so special to him.
This is home. It always has been, always will be. We've loved everywhere we've played, right? I mean, that's one of the things that I've learned throughout my life and career and been told by mentors is be present. Wherever you go, wherever you're doing, whoever you're with, be 100% present with them and in that moment. And I've tried to do that in every aspect of my life and in every season of my life. But when I think about my baseball playing career in the major leagues, the first thing that pops into my head is the Oakland A's. And the 13 playoff run, the 14 wild card game, the All-Star games, and, you know, coming back this year for this final season, and just enjoying being back in Oakland, being in the Coliseum, getting to kind of put a stamp on those relationships that were formed the first 5 seasons I was here. And I couldn't have asked for a better finish on a personal level than to come back to Oakland and be with the people that helped mold me into who I am as a baseball player and as a man.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Eno Sarris, our national baseball columnist from The Athletic, is going to join us coming up here at the bottom of the hour. So, I only follow baseball people. If you know the show, I got kicked off Twitter for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, all I ever did was tweet about the A's. Maybe Twitter doesn't like the A's. Maybe it's Giant fans over in San Francisco who are Twitter people didn't like me being on Twitter, being the A's guy, and they found a way to get me off. Whatever. So I created another account where I just follow baseball stuff and golf stuff. I don't think I really follow news at all. I hardly ever go to Twitter anymore. I tell you what, it really is liberating. I know you couldn't do it. You're on your computer all day long. Stay off Twitter. It's great. Great.
I only use 2 social media things. I use Twitter for...
You're on it all day long.
Well, I'm working during the day, so yeah.
No, you're on it all day means all day means.
Oh, no. After I'm done working, I don't really look at it.
Oh, that's wrong. I mean, I got text to prove you wrong.
Last night, because I was working still last night. Even on my birthday, I was still working.
You're on it all the time. Don't lie.
And I use Instagram. That's
all day long.
All these people use Facebook and Snapchat and Be Real and what else?
Be Real? What's Be Real?
Some new thing now where you get notified and all your friends take a picture, and it takes a picture of you, and like you use your back camera, it gets the back and the front. So like you and I can take a selfie, and then it'll take whatever's behind us. So it'll be us, and then it'll show what's in front of us too. I don't know. I tried it. I deleted it. I thought it was dumb. Sorry for people who do like the app. I didn't care for it. I got rid of Facebook 5 years ago because Facebook is dumb.
All right, so one of these tweets was 6 hours. They're back to back. Shows you how my timeline works. One was 6 hours ago. The other was 9 hours ago.
Which one do you want to go to first?
I'm gonna go to Paul Hembekides.
Okay. The safe one.
The safe one. Did you bleep it?
I got it. Yeah.
Are you sure? Wait, we could actually play. We want to be a family show, but we're not. When you're streaming, whether video or audio, you're not subjected to FCC rules.
Correct.
So we could play the F-bombs and be technically okay. I'm not sure the organization, as representatives of the organization, would be cool with that.
Probably not. So that's why we play it safe.
And who knows? My kids could be listening. I always think about that.
It's very smart, very responsible.
All righty, Paul Hembekides from ESPN. We know him as Himbo. Philadelphia Philly honk on the morning show Get Up on ESPN television. And as what? He and Mike Greenberg, the podcast?
Yeah, the show Greeny. But Hembo also an author with Greeny.
Okay, starting pitchers versus the Phillies this postseason at Citizen Bank Ballpark. Lance McCullers Jr., Yu Darvish, Mike Clevenger, Joe Musgrove, Charlie Morton, and Spencer Strider. Pretty good list.
Yeah.
I mean, other than Clevenger, I think they're all a good list. McCullers, Darvish, Musgrove, Morton, and Strider. That's a really solid list.
Yeah.
If we were the A's, even I'd take Clevenger. I mean, every one of these guys we'd be dying for in the A's rotation.
Yeah, I think Clevenger's a free agent too.
Would take him?
Just putting it out there.
Would take him.
Yeah. Probably more than even at 39, he's still pretty good.
Oh, I'd take him in a second.
I think he's 39. If he's not 39.
Would you take Spencer Strider?
Yeah, he's okay.
You take Yu Darvish?
Yeah, he's still pretty good for his age.
Would you take Lance McCullers flipping up all those breaking balls?
Yeah, he's still good. Morton is going to actually be 39 next week.
If you combine all of those pitchers' starts in the postseason at Citizen Bank Park, their ERAs, this is how hot the Phillies are, who have not lost a game yet in the postseason at home. All those great pitchers pitching in Philly, their ERAs, if you look at their innings and their earned runs, equals an ERA of 10.62. Uh-oh. That's all you need to know. Uh-oh.
Philly's undefeated at home in the postseason right now.
Christian Javier, you're next. Everybody else has gotten lit up. Everybody else has not done well. Every single starting pitcher, Astros, Padres, Braves, has struggled in Philly. Every guy that has pitched, you add up all their numbers, it's an ERA of 10.62. Christian Javier, you're next.
We'll see. He's been pretty good.
First of all, your opinion does not matter at all because your opinion has been nothing but wrong. So until your opinion actually is right, as you said, sweep, then you double down. You didn't want to bet on it. And then you double down that a gentleman sweep, meaning, okay, they're now going to win 4 straight again.
Yeah,
that didn't work.
Yeah, that's true.
So now you want to give me another prediction?
I don't think Javier is going to get rocked tonight. I'll say it.
Oh, okay. So would that be the 3rd time you're wrong?
Or the first time I'm right.
Wow. See, there's some people that will just, stupid will just be cut. Stupid, we'll double down on stupid, we'll keep doubling down on stupid. That's why Las Vegas and Nevada has had gambling for all these years. Because stupid keeps betting and stupid keeps losing. As my father used to say, they didn't build those casinos in the middle of the desert where there's no water because they lose.
It's a fact.
Because of people like you.
But I've never gambled a day in my life. Fantasy football doesn't count.
But yes, it does. It's gambling. But you're doubling down on bad opinion on bad opinion. You're doubling down again.
That's okay.
Yeah, I know. You will pay for it tomorrow, though, if
We'll
you're
see.
wrong.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Because right now you're 0 for 2 in the series. It's a bad look for the show.
Is it, though? I mean, you've been right about the Phillies. I've just been wrong with the
Well,
Astros.
I mean, I've been right. I was right about the Yankees. I'm right about the Phillies. You keep doubling down on bad.
I just don't think
You're
Javier...
going to triple down on bad. What, you didn't think Spencer Strider was going to struggle? You thought he was you and Roxy were like, oh my God, this guy, he's fastball slider. He's like a closer starter. I mean, you guys gushed over Spencer Strider. You Darvish, you love you Darvish.
I do, actually.
Oh my God. Lance McCullers Jr.? You got a tattoo of him, for God's sakes.
Well, you don't forget Charlie Morton, former Pirate.
Oh, back in the day, Clevenger, you and Clevenger with the Indians, you loved him back in the day. Fact?
He was a good pitcher. Well, he was okay. He wasn't great.
Joe Musgrove and those ears and the whatever's on his ears.
The shiny ears.
But that's, you know what the thing about that is shiny's not sticky.
Yeah, we tested that.
We did our own test here on A's Cast Live. Shiny is not sticky. Sticky is, you wouldn't see it. Like anything that's tacky is not shiny. There's no substance that I know, because when it's shiny and glistening like that, it's slippery, it's wet, it's moist, or it's like some type of like a lube. Like if I went and got, I don't know, like Vaseline or whatever, that's not going to be sticky. Sticky is something you don't like. There's been sprays that are like tacky. You don't see it. That's why I never got the Musgrove. Like whatever on his ears is not sticky. It's glistening. Because if it was sticky, like dirt and stuff would be stuck on you.
Yeah. Yeah. I still think one of the best lines I've ever heard in a movie was in the Major League. You put snot on the baseball.
Correct. Like Ray Fosse used to tell us when he caught Gaylord Perry that he had to make sure, like if a guy was stealing, that when he was throwing the ball to second, he had to have the dry side.
Oh, yeah.
Or he's throwing a spitter out
out
there. I mean, yeah. I mean, foreign substances on the ball used to be slippery substances that made the ball move all over the place. Nothing was to give you more grip. All right, to the more important thing. Mattress Mac. He's the famous guy that puts all these crazy bets out there. He's a huge Astros fan. There was like this $1 million thing if the Astros won and people got to shop. But he's done all these
he has a big one this year too, I'm pretty sure.
He's got all these bets and all these advertisements, and he's a crazy guy, but he's the mattress guy. He's the mattress king of Houston, which would be very lucrative since I believe Houston is the 4th largest city in the country.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, if you're the 4th largest city in the country, that means you got a lot of humans. And what do humans sleep on?
Beds, mattresses.
And you're the mattress king? Means Mattress Mac is making a lot of cash. He's a huge gambler. He is he placed a $4.5 million wager on the Cincinnati Bengals to win the Super Bowl. How'd that work out?
Not great. You are right. Houston is the 4th largest.
4th largest city, yeah.
Philly
Houston.
6, San Jose 10.
It's huge. So he makes a lot of money. Big Astros fan. Well, let me tell you something about big money Astro fan. Don't fight with Philly fan. You're not going to win. After the game, Mattress Mac is getting involved with the last fan base. We have edited this hopefully the best possibly way we can. Here is Mattress Mac up against Philly fan.
That's it. You can just assume what the bleeps there were. The three of them.
It's a 71-year-old man where people are like moving him. Security's moving him away because you're about to get swallowed up by Philly fan. You don't mess with Philly fan. This is a whole. Philly is a very, very tough town.
Did you see what they did last night, by the way? Redemption. Santa Claus was shown on the screen. Guess what?
They booed him.
Cheers.
No.
They cheered Santa Claus.
Hey, not to get too, but Philly right now, carjackings are up 78%. Murder is up. Like Philly as a town has got some horrific violence going on in their town right now. Philly is a rough, rough town. The last thing you want to do is to go into their stadium, get liquored up, and start popping off to these people. It's not like out here. It's not like the South. These East Coast fans are a different breed, and they'll flip on you in a dime. And you get that mob mentality in a stadium like that where everybody's been drinking for hours. Reese Hoskins' wife's going up there and buying everybody drinks.
That was pretty great.
But I'm just saying, like, you're a 71-year-old man wearing your Astro stuff. Just move along. Just move along. I would never. I don't know. I wouldn't be wearing A's gear. Like, if we were going back to the East Coast as just a fan, I don't know if I'd wear the gear. You're like inviting people who are drunk. You're the opposing guy. Trust me. You go to a game, you wear clothes. Like, you could wear this. Like, look at the difference. I go to a Phillies A's World Series game. I'm telling you where I stand. All right? You know, I'm an A's fan. I'm rooting against your team. I'm in your stadium. Should people respect that? Yes. But guess what? Drunk people don't. Now, I wear this. People on television see that, and they go, oh, he's an A's guy. Philly fan has no clue what that is.
Exactly.
No clue. So you can wear rando stuff that says you're representing the A's that only A's people would know. But when you go decked out in you go into an opposing stadium with your gear on, shouldn't be that way. I should say this about Raider games. You come walking in with a Kansas City Chief or a Denver Bronco jersey, just know it's wrong, but you are inviting it. You're letting everybody know I'm against you. To where if you just wore a shirt, a jacket, you want to rep what you want to rep, just know this is how it is, right or wrong. And it's wrong. I should say wrong. It's wrong, but it is what it is. You are against them. You're saying, I'm the guy, I'm the gal, I like the team that's not your team. I'm coming into your stadium to root against you. I don't know. And maybe you really want to be honest, you don't know what's going on in these people's lives. You don't know how much they've had to drink. You don't know what's going on outside the stadium. They're coming in, they're passionate, they're heated, and you're against them. I mean, when you really think about what happens, you're going in, repping. Why do you think you have all these fights? Like, it's in California. They have, like, literally Twitter accounts based off fights at Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium's become a violent place, like Dodger fan on Dodger fan violence.
Yeah, I've seen
like
them.
there's Twitter accounts, and there's videos of Dodger fans fighting each other, let alone Padres, Giants fans going in there and fighting with Dodger fans. It's Dodger fan fighting Dodger fan.
And you can't tailgate in the parking lot of Dodger Stadium anymore. I found that out when we went for the home run derby. Ever since the horrific
Brian Stowe
what happened with Brian Stowe 10 years ago. You can't tailgate in the parking lot of Dodger Stadium anymore. I found that out when we were there. So
I saw this video on Twitter where these two Dodger fans, it was after the game, it was like towards, I think, the Uber line, where probably smart, just regular old security guards who have the jackets on, sat back and let these two Dodger fans just swing it out. Why am I going to hurt myself? I'm not making enough money. I'm not going to break this up. But they were both wearing Dodgers gear. And they were swinging like this was a feud for 20 years.
The only time in California, I've been here for 10 years now, that I've ever had someone say something to me for wearing the opposing team's gear wasn't in San Francisco, wasn't in Oakland, wasn't in San Jose. It was in Fresno a few weeks ago when I wore Spartan gear.
That's a hated rivalry.
And the guy told me to go back to San Jose.
Ooh.
So
you mean I don't get to stay here in Fresno? Tucky, for God's sakes. You. Coming up next, our national baseball columnist. He wants to talk tipping pitches. He wants to talk, you don't need defense anymore to win championships. Rick Barry, NBA Hall of Famer, would disagree. Remember that?
So I remember when did he say that?
On my show. Rick Barry used to be on my show all the time.
I just remember I could not care less.
Yeah, he said that. And defense wins championships. I don't care how many three-pointers they hit. Defense wins championships. So now all of a sudden it doesn't? By the way, how many errors during this break? Find out how many errors the Phillies have made in this postseason.
Okay.
Eno Sarris next, right here on A's Cast Live. Humanity has accomplished a whole lot so far. We created penicillin, the automobile, and the internet, not to mention drones, duct tape, and the hot dog. It's all thanks to the power of human connections. And Ring Central's here to make that even easier, more seamlessly and securely, on a platform built to grow your business. Say hello to a whole new way to say hello. Visit ringcentral.com and say hello to possibilities. Ring Central. Message, video, phone, together.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here, and my friends at Last Dive Bar are helping us celebrate our longtime home. Last Dive Bar has the most unique merchandise for all Oakland baseball fans. T-shirts, sweatshirts, the Ray Fosse line, and my personal favorite, the lights have taken full effect. Visit their website at lastdivebar.com or follow them on social media at Last Dive Bar. All proceeds are invested back into the A's Community Fund and their affiliated charities. Go to lastdivebar.com. That's lastdivebar.com.
This is Chris Townsend for the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. Great news! Our indoor dining is back, along with our beautiful patio dining. Come taste our world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 83 years. The Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek has one of the most dynamic menus, plus a full bar. Pot pies, gourmet burgers, sandwiches, salads, flatbreads, and more. Don't forget, we still do takeout and delivery. For all the information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
The Oakland Athletics begin spring training on February 25th. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine with your family and friends. Buy your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium.
And Tony, it's a deep drive to right in the corner. Gritchick going back. He'll turn and watch it fly.
Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is a national brand with family-owned prices and service. You can shop at one of their Barrier locations, and all stores are sanitized and safe, or you can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you'll get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Big Murph, Sean Murphy stopped by A's Cast Live to talk about what Stephen Vogt has meant to his career.
You know, Stephen sort of ushered me into my career. My first spring training, he was there. You know, he was the guy I looked up to. I followed him around. And he took me under his wing when he didn't have to, and he made time for me when he didn't have to. And it speaks to who he is as a person. He's just a tremendous person. I can't say enough good words about Stephen. He's a genuine person. He cares. He's sincere with everything he does and everything he says. And it's gonna be a tough day for everybody.
To listen to the full interview and much more, go to athletics.com/A'sCast.
Coming in at 5'3", it's number one mom. She switched to Xfinity and got the all-new 3-for-1 bundle. Unlimited internet, streaming, and Xfinity Mobile. All for what you could pay wireless companies for just one 5G unlimited line. Boom shakalaka. Go to Xfinity.com/3-for-1, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
Hey, A's fans, you know that running your own business is a slugfest every day. That's why businesses have been counting on Mechanics Bank since 1905. From operating lines of credit to equipment and real estate loans, they can help build your lineup to meet today's challenges and prepare for tomorrow's opportunities. Stop by your local branch or visit mechanicsbank.com today. Mechanics Bank, the official East Bay bank of the Oakland A's. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. All loans subject to program eligibility and credit approval.
A's fans, there is no better way to stay in touch with the A's and even our players than following us on social media. Just head over to athletics.com/social. That's athletics.com/social for a full list of our social coverage, from player accounts to Twitter handles and more. Now is the time to stay in touch. Head over to athletics.com/social. That's athletics.com/social today.
Some things just go together. Peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Oakland and Kaiser Permanente. If that last one caught you off guard, it shouldn't, because Kaiser Permanente has been helping keep Oakland healthy since our very beginning. And as the official healthcare partner of the Oakland A's, that won't be changing anytime soon. Whatever you may need, you can trust Kaiser Permanente to help keep you feeling your best. Kaiser Permanente. Thrive. Visit kp.org today.
A's Cast Live continues from the town. Here's Chris Townsend.
Do we have my guy? Is Eno ready to rock? Do you have his open? Oh, wow.
The Eno Sarris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
Oh, nothing better. World Series. Aaron Nola on the mound, about to throw the first pitch, and Eno Sarris and Fieldwork. You just go, you turn mug, you're ready to rock.
That's right. It's that season.
So how are you?
Doing perfect. About to head down to the Arizona Fall League for to see some youngsters play some ball.
It's got to be over soon, right?
It's the home run derby and the all-star game this weekend, which is usually, there's like a week or two after that, and then they have a championship.
All right. And then you can give us a report on how the A's players are doing down there.
Yeah, I was just taking a look through some of their numbers. They have a first baseman named Edwards that I think is playing pretty well, actually.
And some of these guys, like Stott, was there last year, so you never know when you go down there and watch what guys could be making that jump. I mean, think about that. You're in the Arizona Fall League. Months later, you're in the big leagues.
That's the big thing. I think that, what these guys are doing, a lot of them were in AA and need to get to like 600, 700 plate appearance type levels. They need to be able to play that much. And so they're just adding on. That's like the finishing school types. Then there are other guys who've just been injured. There's a lot of the pitchers that just been injured and need innings. The A's have a really exciting guy down there, Mason Miller. He's striking a ton of guys out. He had like 7 innings this year on the whole year. So he's down there just because he's healthy and there are people playing ball. But from the strikeout numbers alone, I'm excited to go talk to him.
Well, I think of a guy that is like really, it's the end of the year and you're seeing it and you're just, I mean, the baseball looks like a beach ball coming in, right? Like Kevin Smith, how he ended AAA this year for the Aviators. He had a brutal year. And then all of a sudden the last month, it's 3 for 4 every night, 2-run shots. I mean, you don't want to stop playing. I could see like, yeah, I want this feeling. I don't want this feeling to stop heading into spring training.
Yeah, and some of the guys will be ready to like battle for a job. I mean, like Jordan Walker is on one of those hot streaks. He's an outfield prospect for the Cardinals, and they moved him to the outfield because they got a guy named Nolan Arenado there at third base at his old position. And so, what you're going to get with Jordan Walker's 5 home runs already in like, in 2 or 3 weeks of play. He's just really tearing the cover off the ball, and he just wants to keep that thing going all the way into spring training to get himself a job next year.
Yeah, I like it. You're just going to take a couple. I mean, these young kids, they don't need a ton of time off, right? So you'll get done in November. You still work out, but you get to rest up. You're not playing games December, January. Then, you're starting to head to spring training. You don't need a lot of time off. This is your job. You're raring to go. Let's get some insights on the World Series. What do you think so far through 3 games?
I thought it would be, the recipe for the Phillies would be get as much as you can out of Nola and Wheeler. And it's been the rest of the staff that's really stepped up. I think that's really the most surprising aspect to me. But Ranger Suarez, I think last night was a little bit of that age-old debate about whether or not you want command or stuff. Going into the game, Lance McCullers has the primo stuff. He has 2 breaking balls that rate better on my stuff metric than anything Ranger Suarez throws. And yet Ranger Suarez has 6 pitches he commands better than Lance McCullers commands any of his pitches. And what you saw last night was both of them were up 2 ticks. I don't think they were down in stuff. People were talking about, Lance McCullers, maybe his stuff was down. I don't think so. The movement was there. The velo was up. I think it was more command of a problem, whereas Suarez commanded his pitches.
And Suarez just an effortless from the left side. I know we don't freak out about this anymore. It's not that big of a deal. To me, it's always going to be a deal when I see a left-hander throwing 94, 95.
Traditionally, the lefty population is about down a 1 mile per hour off the righty population, just because there's fewer of them. I think I don't think there's another reason for that.
But and then the whole tipping the pitches. It was funny. We had Steve Sparks on yesterday, and we're talking about McCullers, and he said, he's only thrown 1 fastball to a left-hander in 70-something, I think it was 76 or 77 pitches. And so last night, everybody's talking, he's tipping his pitches. Hell, if I'm a left-handed hitter, I don't need to be tipped off anything. I know he's not throwing a fastball. I know I'm getting a breaking ball just about every pitch.
Yeah, the only thing that complicates that is that Bryce Harper pulled Alec Boehm over to talk to him. And I just... Maybe it was like a reinforcement of what the advanced scouts said. Maybe he said, the advanced scouts were right, or jump early because Boehm hit a first pitch homer, and I think Harper did too. be aggressive early. It could have been something small like that. But usually when you see a guy call somebody over excitedly like that, and he like made a point of calling him over, that's usually like, hey, I got something, like watch for this, and then this will happen. So, there was a bunch of amateur sleuths on Twitter that were kind of going after it. And, they kind of said that he was raising his glove higher on breaking pitches. I tried to watch for that, and maybe word got to McCullers. He tried to vary it, but the latter half of McCullers' outing, I couldn't really tell if a breaking ball was coming based on that. So I think it was more like he was really predictable. I mean, you're saying he doesn't throw fastballs to lefties, yeah. So why would Harper even sit fastball? He's sitting slider. So McCullers' slider in the 0-0 pitch, like McCullers' first pitch slider to Harper is equivalent almost to another pitcher's first pitch fastball. And it was middle. So it doesn't get the benefit of being a slider and being different from a fastball if it is the thing that Harper's sitting on. So it basically was a middle heater on 0-0. Like that's what Harper saw.
Spinning pitch that's not moving because it didn't have the bite. It didn't. And, it's funny that we figured it out. We're about, you and I, or the three of us, are about 3,000 miles away from Philadelphia. And before the game, we know he doesn't throw fastballs 3,000 miles away to left-handers. So it's like all this tipping the pitches. And here's the biggest problem. And Ray Fosse would always hammer this to us. He goes, the biggest problem with a hitter who thinks he knows is the fact that they get out of their routine, and usually they get too big. And by meaning too big, their swing becomes
too
different.
Aggressive.
They pop up a lot because they're swinging out of their shoes. It's not see, react. Usually it's like, so a lot of players go, I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
And he said it in more colorful words, but one ex-player did text me that he thought it was just as likely that Harper pulled him over and said, this guy's a blank, don't worry, blank, go out there and do your thing. It could have just been anything, it could have just been like, we got this sucker or whatever, so I don't know. If he had been pitching, there was also a guy who worked with him. Tread Athletics is where he works in the off season. And he went through some of the visuals and said, listen, this is important to me. I work with him. If he's tipping pitches, we got to work on it this off season. But he said he couldn't really find a good example of that. And he showed a couple pitches on Twitter, and I was kind of convinced. So I think it was more, there is this thing in baseball where, I talked to, the pitching coach for the Giants, and he said, we think of it as like kind of stocks. And if you have good performing stocks in your pitches, then you should use those more. Right. And we can see that there's a lot of pitching coaches that are saying, hey, I should just throw this. The slider is really great and it gets really good results. I just throw it more. And we just talked on the last Eno Sarris show about how people have been throwing fewer and fewer sliders, and this year we're seeing even more more and more sliders, fewer and fewer fastballs, and this year we're seeing that even more in the playoffs. But there is a point of no return because Lance McCullers shows it to us. He threw the fastball 18% of the time in his start, and he got blasted. Kyle Schwarber saw there were 6 changeups out of 8 pitches, and Kyle Schwarber saw like 3 of them, right? You're no longer being unpredictable. You're no longer mixing it up saying you don't know what's coming at any time. Kyle Schwarber said, I think a changeup's coming. And he took it deep over center field. You know what I mean? And this isn't even the slider thing. It was like, hey, if you're going to throw 6 changeups out of 8 in a row, the batter starts thinking, I'm going to sit changeup here.
Yeah, I brought it up earlier to Cody. I'm like, you know the guy who tipped his pitches more than anybody in the history of baseball? His name's Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, right. He did the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Every single time he put his hand into the glove, the same time every time, and every single time he threw the same pitch every time. You knew what was coming. He told you. It's it's like what Trevor Bauer did. It's like you knew Mariano Rivera is throwing the same pitch every single time. Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it. If you're Schwarber and he's throwing a change. I mean, that's the whole thing about velocity if you don't use it. Because
Yeah.
McCullers, it's not like McCullers throws 86 to 88. I mean, he can get it up
94
there,
average on that
right?
game.
So it's like when you just abandon that, and I'm a hitter like Schwarber who can just say everything that's coming is coming soft. I'm now just looking zones.
Yeah. And I'm sitting, and my bat speed, that also gives me more time to react. If I just say, I don't even care about the fastball, then I have more time to react, and I'm sitting 87 basically. I'm waiting on 87, and 87, anything up a little bit off the bottom of the zone, I'm into it because I'm sitting there.
Where are you on the Dusty Baker and relying on starters more than relievers?
I remember a really big moment in the World Series in 2002 when I was still a fan and I was out in the seats, and I thought, oh man, the Giants are going to win this thing. And Dusty Baker went out and he took out Russ Ortiz. And, for the people who believe in superstitions, he also handed him the game ball like on the mound, which
and all
as he
the
walked off.
Went, what?
Yeah. So that one, that's for the superstitious. For the sort of practical and current reasons that I bring it up is that maybe he took Russ Ortiz out too early because Fernando Rodney came in and blew that game and they lost that series. I don't know if he thinks back to that and thinks, no, these starters are my horses. They're the reason we're here. I believe in them. But for whatever reason, I think there's little doubt that he left Lance McCullers in too long. And my evidence is that inning in which Kyle Schwarber went deep. If they don't do that, it's 5-0. That just is more manageable. Maybe they thought 5-0 is we're already waving the white flag. But then why bring in Ryan Stanek, who is a high leverage 100-mile-an-hour reliever? You should have just brought in Urquidy and waved the white flag then. Or you bring Stanek in the fourth and you keep it 5-0. So there was a couple of choices there that seemed a little bit weird. I think they maybe just don't believe in Jose Urquidy right now, or else they would have used him earlier. And they thought they saw these other two games coming. Christian Javier is not a guy who goes deep into games as much as he's a good pitcher. So maybe they wanted Luis Garcia to go to piggyback with Christian Javier. So for whatever reason, they have depth on their side, and they did not go to their depth. And they could have gone to that in the third inning. They could have gone to that in the second inning. They could have put Luis Garcia out there in the first inning if they didn't like what they saw. So something was a little bit off in the decision making, I think.
Well, I got to say, too, about this ballpark, I don't know if any lead's safe. I mean, some of these home runs are bandbox home runs.
And that might have been the thinking on 4-0 is, hey, we're going to get a couple homers and get back in this ourselves,
Yeah.
You
have to believe that.
Yeah. So, but still, I think you go to Stanek in the fifth and keep it close, try to keep it at 5. If Stanek gives up 2, then you can go to Urquidy. But they didn't know. I don't know. I think they were managing on their back at their feet. Otherwise, Thompson seems to be really aggressive and seems to be making all the right moves. I don't know if that's just us looking backwards and be like, oh yeah, all those moves are right. But Thompson is more aggressive. He's putting in Alvarado, his best pitcher, earlier in the game. He's doing more sort of innovative, I need to win this game because there is no other game to win kind of managing, whereas Dusty's not quite doing that.
The Hall of Famer Rick Barry once said on my show, defense wins championships. Are we now saying because the Phillies could be winning a championship here that run prevention isn't as big as we think?
It isn't. I mean, I looked through the history, and in terms of being predictive, the thing that was most predictive is how good is your lineup. People like to say pitching and defense wins championships, but I couldn't find any evidence of that. In terms of correlations to winning percentage in the playoffs, it was the lineup that mattered the most. So, I think we're seeing just how good a good lineup can mash its way there. You know what I mean? What are you supposed to do if they just keep hitting homers? Like, it doesn't matter that Nola and Wheeler have given up 10 runs if they just keep hitting homers. So they're following the script in terms of what I've found has been predictive in the past.
Like how far in the past?
I think I use all history of playoffs.
Wow. And that's the thing, too, is when you get in the playoffs, you don't know which team is going to be the homer happy team.
Well, yeah, I did have to use regular season statistics to try and to correlate. So, yes, you can look back if you look backwards at just who homers in games. Like the team that out homers the opponent always wins. It's like they win like 35 out of 37 series or something. Like it's it's always good to homer in the playoffs. But sometimes you just get teams on heaters that homer more than you expect. The Phillies somehow were 6th in homers this year, and there were 3 or 4 or 5 playoff teams ahead of them that just didn't homer as much in the playoffs. So that's part of it too, is Harper being being healthy at the right time, Castellanos seemingly and admittingly upping his game in the playoffs. He said some stuff about how he can't really he's not there for every play during the regular season, but the playoffs get you locked in. So
being honest, you guys want honest.
Yeah, right. I love him. I love his quotes, man. He's so funny.
How much, we talked to Mike Ferrin earlier, and I was asking about the whole playoff format and how, the tournament feel. And he's like, well, we've had this tournament feel for a long time, but this year really, because we've added teams, it really has. This is a tournament. How much is what the Phillies doing kind of change the reliance so much on the regular season?
I mean, it does devalue the regular season a little bit. They're going to be an 87-win team. We've seen other teams like that win before in the wild card era. The Giants.
Cardinals one year won barely over 500, and they won the World Series.
Giants were a wild card team in their last run. But one thing is that has made me hopeful. I thought going into this that this is going to devalue the regular season, and teams are all going to try and build 88-win teams, right? It's long kind of been what the A's have done, right? They've tried to build 87, 88-win teams. If things break right, they're 90, 92, and they're in the playoffs. If they break wrong, they sell off some pieces and try to build an 87-win team the next year. They can't necessarily afford to try and build, or at least that's been the story, that they can't afford to build a 95-win team, and so I was a little bit worried that we would have a lot of teams just going for the middle, right? Because now we got 12 teams that make it, just get in, and then anything can happen. But the Phillies, they're a team that are like we're an 87-win team and just got in. Anything can happen. Anything is happening. But they tried to get better. They're a team that spent in free agency. They're a team that went and got better. So I think the evidence is that the bye matters. People want to win the division and they want to win that bye. And because of that, teams are still trying to get better. I didn't see a lot of teams that were on the bubble just be like, we're good. We'll try to win 86 and see what happens. So I think the way that they constructed it was important. Also, a 3-game wild card playoffs, that's worth trying to make your team better to get into, because that's 3 games of gate, right? It's not just 1 game of gate in terms of receipts, in terms of like money, like you get a share of 3 games worth of postseason play, and that's worth trying to get into. Whereas I think I didn't love the 1 and out. I know it was like kind of exciting but that's like a different sport feel to me. That's more like a football NCAA tournament. Baseball is more like, a 3-game series. We want to try and see which of these teams is better. I know it's an impossibly tiny sample, but at least 3 games, you get a different starter. You get 1 more try with another starter.
I totally 100% agree with you. That's like in years past, even though I hated it, I could understand it where you go, we're going to lose all these resources to get better, to maybe play in 1 more game. Like, is that really from a business standpoint smart?
Right.
I could understand. Now you're like, wait a minute, you got a series. You can go out and lose 18-0 in game 1. Doesn't matter. You got 2 more shots at it. You win 2, you move on. Now you're hot and you can go on and win the World Series. I think what the Phillies are doing right now, whether they win or lose, is going to be great for baseball. The fact that they're showing everybody, folks, there's going to be teams that are going to be, we're out of it. We're trying to rebuild. But for a lot of teams, this is about getting in. And if you get in, you've got as good a shot as anybody.
Right. And, I love that there's so many homegrown players on the Astros, and that's something that's cool too. But it is cool to just see a Phillies team try, sign big free agents, try to get better that way. Not really hug the prospects so tightly and feel like all these guys are going to turn out. Prospects, they're really a 50-50 proposition, even the better ones. So the Phillies said, if that's the truth, then I'd rather trade them for, players that I know are good, especially since I'm trying to win now. So.
And that gets to our guy, Dave Dombrowski. And Cody found a great article in Yahoo Sports where, they're kind of saying he's like the anti-Moneyball, which if I'm Billy Beane, and Billy's a super cool guy, so we both know he's not going to care. But if I'm Billy Beane and everybody wants to compare everything to Moneyball, I'd be like, hey, man, don't be comparing me to these guys. You got a bunch of teams that got a ton of money, and they're trying to play Moneyball. That's on them being cheap. I had
to do it, right?
He didn't have the budget. He had to play Moneyball.
Billy says, I spend every dime they give me.
Yeah, that's not what's happening with Hein Bloom and the Boston Red Sox. That's not
Yeah.
I'm Billy, I'm pissed. But how do you think people view in our game now? Dave Dombrowski's been doing this since the 80s, He didn't have a cell phone. There wasn't the internet. This guy's been in this game forever, and he's been so successful, and he's so different than the rest of everybody younger than him in the game, but yet his teams keep getting to the postseason and the World Series.
Yeah, it's wild how quickly the Red Sox let him go after he won a championship with them. There's been some rumblings that James Click, might be out in Houston, and they kind of compared like who were the last, and they had to compare him to like a Larry McPhail, who was like a part owner of the Yankees or something, and the Yankees won, and he like punched a reporter in the face and like resigned on the spot. And that was like one of the other quickest people that's ever been let go after a championship.
What?
Basically let himself go. Yeah, you can look up Larry McPhail.
I know Larry McPhail is. Wait, he punched it like right after the World Series won it, punched a guy?
Like in the celebration, I think, like punched a reporter and was like, I'm out.
That's not a good look.
and Derek, Dave Dombrowski didn't punch anybody. He was like, I just won a championship. And they're like, no, we want more sustainability. So he got let go, even though like the shine of the parade was still on. So did I get it right, Cody?
He's looking it up.
I was reading.
I know. I'm reading an article, so you can't.
Yeah, it's too much. But yeah. Anyway, I think that he doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough respect. I think people even denigrate it and say, oh, that's Dave Dombrowski. Like I was talking about the Logan. They had this trade this season where they traded Logan O'Hoppe, who's like a really well-regarded catching prospect, right? And they traded him to the Angels for Brandon Marsh, who people say, oh, he's not even playing center. Well, he's not playing center because Trout says he wants to play center, right? He is actually a center fielder. And they say, oh, he strikes out too much. Well, look what happened when he got in with Kevin Long and started hitting with their hitting coach. He struck out less. And, he changed some things mechanically. He's been really good for them. And the biggest thing is he can catch it. They needed a guy who can catch it in center. And I was talking to somebody inside the game. They're like, well, that's Dave Dombrowski. If you need something, trade the prospect for it. And I'm like, yeah. What? How are you saying that in like a negative voice? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, if you need something, trade a prospect for it.
What was that person's response?
They were like, yeah, but then it hurts you down the line. I'm like, well, down the line you might not have a good team. Then then trade for prospect.
Job.
Yeah, right. That too.
It's amazing to me that in all these other sports, and I want to ask you this, and I know we're up against it, but in football, everybody watches the Super Bowl, right? Everybody who works in football watches the Super Bowl. In the NBA, everybody watches the NBA finals and the NBA playoffs because they say that it's the highest level of basketball we have on the planet. Then in hockey, the Stanley Cup playoffs is like a badge of honor to be there. Guys are playing on broken legs and torn this and torn that. Baseball people don't love their playoffs. I know of quite a few executives that have said in the past, I didn't even watch it. It's like they view this regular season versus the postseason. They've tried to make the postseason just this crapshoot because they can't control it, because they control the regular season. Why? And that's an example right there. Is like, why would you trade this to win the World Series? It's like, isn't this the goal, is to win the World Series? And I think sustainability for these people and keeping your job for a long time and running this thing is worth more than winning the World Series. It's weird.
Yeah, it's true. As like a numbers guy, I can have some sympathy for it because it's so frustrating. It must be frustrating to be like a Dodgers executive, right? And we win all the time. We win. We do everything right. We build the guys from within. We trade for big players. We spend in free agency. We do everything right. We're building great teams. We win. We're a juggernaut. And, everyone's going to put that asterisk on that 2020 championship and say we didn't win a real one during this whole time. And as a person who believes in process, I could see that being really frustrating. So I do have some sympathy for them if they feel like I can't watch it. But at the same time, I was on this show just last week saying, hey, things in the post happen first in the postseason before they happen in the regular season.
Yeah.
You should be watching. You should be watching, because if things are working or not working, then you should be watching. Like if you're a pitching coach and you think, hey, everyone should just throw their changeups and their sliders, they should throw their sliders 80% of the time, you should watch that Lance McCullers start, and see if maybe that's not the greatest idea, and think about it, and maybe ask your guys to run some numbers on it and blah, blah, blah. But this is a cauldron for, the best new trends in baseball. And it really does matter. And the way that they play in the postseason is the way they're going to play in the regular season in the future. So you better be watching, is all I got to say.
I got to tell you, I have an issue with that whole asterisk around the Dodgers winning the World Series. I think for people that worked during that time, it was a very scary time. And I think as we get further away from it, people are not sensitive, and I think it's wrong. I had a conversation. I was telling this story yesterday where I said to somebody, you realize millions of people died. And the person said, well, not here in this country. And I went, what? Millions of people died, whether in this country or not. Millions of people died.
And it is interesting. I think that way about the regular season too. It's such a grind, man. We work so hard. We can't devalue it. Like people are there every day.
2020 season, when people are trying to discount the Dodgers, the fact
there
that
was nobody in the fans. There was nothing.
People are dying around the world. They're playing in a bubble. They're playing in an atmosphere that's never been done before. They can't they can't be with their parents. They can't be with their grandparents. They can't be around anybody. They don't know if they're going to get it. Is the vaccine that I just took that's experimental, is that going to be okay? Can I even touch another player of another team?
Right.
I mean, they played through a time that we've never seen before. So I think it's so insensitive when people say, that World Series doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah. And for what it's worth, I ran the numbers. In 60 games, you do actually get a true sense of how good a team is. They played 60 games. They won a ton of them, and they won postseason games when they had no fans helping them out. You know what I mean? They won on empty stadiums. So I think they deserve a badge of honor for that. And, it was important too, because they helped a lot of us who couldn't do anything, couldn't get out of the house. Yeah. And at least there was something to watch. I remember those first couple of weeks when, I was just watching Korean baseball because I couldn't.
ABO, baby.
People got really into lumberjack stuff and whatever was out there.
We were talking to Dan Straley. I can't remember what team Dan Straley was playing for over there. We were having him on. I mean, it was like, wow. And I'll never forget. It was one of the greatest home runs I've ever seen because it meant so much. Was that first game for the A's, went into extra innings, and Matt Olson hit the walk-off grand slam, game 1 of 60. I know nobody was there, but it felt like one of the great, because we'd waited so long. It felt
Actual
like
baseball. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like one of the greatest home runs I have ever seen. All right, buddy. Great. So first of all, play the man.
Real quick, you're correct. Larry McPhail fired in 1947 for punching a reporter because he was drunk, and after the Yankees won the World Series. Correct.
Yeah. What a way to go out. and he's more respected than Dave Dombrowski.
So play the man.
The Eno Sarris Show is sponsored by Fieldwork Brewing Company. With 8 taproom locations in Northern California, Fieldwork brings you fresh craft beer direct from the source. Fieldwork will also ship beer direct to your door if you live in California. Visit fieldworkbrewing.com.
And by the way, the Fieldwork Brewing location in San Leandro is incredible.
Yeah, we'll have to do something there in the spring. We'll have some sort of live event there in the spring. That'd be fun.
No doubt. I mean, it is. You want to talk about taking a location, and it's a beautiful location. It's got parking, but they did an unbelievable job. I haven't been to the other ones. I'd love to go to all of them, but I can say the one in San Leandro is top
road trip.
Top notch. All right, when you going to Arizona?
This weekend.
This weekend. All right, we expect a great report from Anna Tan.
Well, we'll see.
All right, buddy. Be well. Have a good time.
Thanks.
Eno Sarris from the Valley of the Sun. We're going to have Eno there. We're going to have right field Will.
And we're going to have a lot of talk of the Arizona Fall League. So it's a good show.
Yeah, we got World Series.
Less than an hour. Literally 59 minutes from now. Tomorrow's show, the pitching ninja returns, Rob Friedman.
The ninja.
Then you got the pitching guru, Scott Emerson, the ace pitching coach. We have Zach Kreiser, who wrote the article about Dave Dombrowski from Yahoo Sports. And CJ Nikowski will be on with us as well.
47 teams. 47 have taken a 3-1 lead and gone on to win 41 of the World Series. The only teams that didn't, the 1925 Senators, the 1958 Braves, the 1968 and 85, as you know, Cardinals.
Is that Whitey Herzog?
I don't know who it is in 68, but yes, I believe Whitey Herzog and the boys in 85. Was that to the Dodgers?
That was the Royals, wasn't it?
No, they're a National League team. Oh, yeah, that would have been the World Series. No.
Yeah, 85, when the Royals won the World Series in 85.
Yeah. Was that in the World Series?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is the World Series. I'm reading the World Series. The 1979 Orioles against your Pittsburgh Pirates, and the 2016, they have them as Guardians. They'd be Indians.
Yeah, Guardians. Yeah, the bullet to the Cubs.
So that's 87% of the time. If Phillies win tonight, 87% of the time, that team brings it home. So you better hope the Astros don't lose tonight, because history will not be on their side.
So we're going to see what Verlander, if they lose tonight, Verlander for boy. You want to throw Verlander with the season on the line?
How's his World Series numbers?
Yeah. Well, Verlander finished his career with a World Series win.
All I know is I've got notes all over the place and all point Philly, Philly, Philly. The gamblers have now switched it to Philly is a big favorite. Philly went from a big underdog to a favorite. What does that tell you?
We're not believing in the Astros.
All righty, we're back tomorrow from 1 to 4. We appreciate you listening to A's Cast Live. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Enjoy Game 4 of the World Series coming up in a little less than an hour.
The Coliseum has gone by many names, but none better than the Last Dive Bar. Hi, everyone. Ken Korak here.